Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen. 90.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Daily's Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin. $150 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
Digital marketing, well, my intern handles the social media, my brother-in-law does my search, and my receptionist sends out email blasts. All done.
Your digital marketing may get done, but is it doing anything? No? Then let CMG Local Solutions help. At CMG Local Solutions, we combine the best-in-class technology and analytics to maximize your digital dollars while targeting local customers for your business. So your digital marketing doesn't just get done, it gets results. Learn more about how we can help you at cmglocalsolutions.com.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Mary on Demand is live. Start your marijuana education journey today. Learn at your own pace and check out the Medical Marijuana Education Series. You decide what you'd like to learn and when with Mary on Demand. Visit mary.famu.edu. That's mmeri.famu.edu. And remember, recreational marijuana is still illegal in Florida. Mary, educate, learn, talk.
He's a former coach with 2 sons who played professional basketball. Satch Sullinger's a competitive individual, but his golf game was suffering because of painful joints.
Right, that's real important, the golf game. Right, as we get older, we create these bad habits because we're relegated to hit a certain way.
QC Kinetics used regenerative treatments, all natural healing properties from Satch's own body, to restore those damaged joints and get his golf game back on track.
QC Kinetics regenerative medicine is regenerating me. All natural, and that's what I'm about. I'm going to tell everybody why I'm better.
Oh, and by the way, looks like the competitive Satch is back.
We're all in the same boat, and I'm getting better, and I'm watching them stay old.
Go to QCkinetics.com. Get relief and your game back. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
Did you know that you have the power to positively impact a local child's life? It's as easy as donating to Daniel, Florida's oldest child service agency. Daniel provides counseling to abused children. Daniel helps homeless teens find shelter and learn to live independently. Daniel connects kids with foster families and strengthens at-risk families so they can stay together. They've done all this and more for 135 years. Please become a part of improving the lives of local children and families by donating at danielkids.org today.
The only thing better than a day at Jack's Beaches is driving there in a new ride. And now's the time, because it's the Summer Starts Here sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. That's over 350 premium pre-owned on the lot. All makes, all models, certified pre-owned. You name it, Arlington's got it. You even get 30 days to love your purchase or exchange it for one you do. But this sale won't last long, so don't wait. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
What's up? It's Kasey. Check out the podcast Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, wherever you get your podcast.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Only one option for LeBron James and the Lakers tonight, win or go home. They're trailing 3-0. Host Denver, Game 4, NBA's Western Conference Finals. LA wins and denies the Nuggets their first ever playoff series sweep, predicts ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
He's not getting swept. This game is going to 5, okay? The Lakers will win tonight. They will win Game 4. LeBron James have too much damn pride to go out and get swept in the conference finals. AD is going to come back with it on his mind.
Lakers 3-point favorites to win tonight. Game 4, 8 Eastern ESPN Radio, 8:30 Eastern ESPN TV. Saying the time has come for him to say goodbye, Carmelo Anthony announced his retirement from the NBA, ending his 19-year career. Anthony leaves as the league's 9th all-time leading scorer, was also named one of the 75 greatest players in league history. Bucks narrowed their head coaching search, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. They plan to meet with former Raptors coach Nick Nurse, Warriors associate head coach Kenny Atkinson, and Toronto assistant Adrian Griffin this week.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! But what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
Well, here we go on a Monday, and we've got some football in Jacksonville. OTAs will get you excited. That's what happens this time of year. We inflate OTAs like it's the season opener.
I mean, it's fun for football fans.
Calvin Ridley on the field, baby.
Yeah.
How fun is that?
That's great.
Should open it up for fans.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
What's interesting is the next couple of OTAs aren't open to the media or fans, so that's where they do all the secret work.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like a once-a-week thing, which I kind of like. We've long said in the past, like, I don't think we need to be out there for every one of them.
The media.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because it does get monotonous. It's also monotonous from a training camp perspective. A lot of the same topics, right?
Yeah.
That you're seeing. But there's a freshness to this one to see some of the guys, not everybody. Of course, one of the big storylines like Josh Allen, Cam Robinson, Evan Ingram, those three guys aren't here. It's a voluntary portion. I guess one of the other storylines is Doug Pederson not making it a storyline. He's like, hey, they're getting their work done, and that's what it is. So, but a lot of folks there. And to see this collection of Jaguars back on the field looks very much like last year's collection of Jaguars on the field.
Yeah.
Other than guys like Calvin Ridley and the new draft class. So from that standpoint, it was like a reunion of, hey, good to see you again.
And that's a big part of the storyline you're hearing out of the coaching staff so far as well.
Well, the fact that can have this continuity, right? And that's a big part of it. Doug Pederson said something today that we will get into and maybe even hear from a little bit later, but you can't be one and done. Now, one and done term is more about basketball players going to college and heading to the NBA. But I love when Doug said this, because if you think about the recent history of the organization, and really half the history of the organization, if you go back to, even 2007, there was a little bit of a good play streak there, made the playoffs in 05, 07. Like they were 06, 07. They weren't bad, but they really thought they had something cooking for 08, and they didn't. It fell off the table. If you go to 2017, it was their only year before last year that they even had success. In 2018, good start, fell off the table. Disaster. So now you come to this next installment. I mean, in a 20-year span, this can arguably be just the third time the Jags are coming off a high and have expectation to the point where they validated some of the expectation the year prior. And now can you keep it going? That's something this organization has not been able to do since really the late 90s in a big-time way when they were first an organization. So I love that Doug addressed that and said that, and he's already kind of spoken to it. It's a fresh start. It's this, it's that, a bunch of cliches that a lot of coaches would say. But for him to say, this can't be a one and done. Like, this can't be it. This has to be, we're still chasing. And I talked to some of the players today, and it was interesting. How are you going to handle being the target on your back? And Andre Sisco, I think, was one that told me, like, we're still chasing. Like, they can come get us or try to come get us if they want, but we're the ones still chasing. We didn't get the championship. Like, we're still in chase mode.
You think that's semantics, or do you think there's a thing to that?
Well, I think there is a thing to it. I think there's a thing to how people handle success and how you handle failure. And I think it's easier to handle failure sometimes because, well, you're motivated by that. You're motivated by failure. How can you be motivated by success? Well, some people get very complacent. Some people want to be great. Other people don't want to be great. Other people are satisfied with being pretty good. And even though these are a 1% athlete, I think that still falls into some people in that locker room are okay with, hey, I'm in the NFL, I'm getting a check, I don't need to be one of the greatest of all time. Then there are other folks that probably like, we want to be a great football team, and I want to be a great NFL player. I want to be here for 10, 12 years and do this every year. Everybody will say that, but what actions do it? I think it's fewer than people think.
Being the prey or the hunter,
yeah,
I think matters more to the hunters than it does to the prey. So, asking the Jaguars how they feel about having the target on their back might be a little bit of a paradigm shift mentally in their heads, right? Like, how do we feel about ourselves versus how we felt about ourselves last year? But really, it matters more to everyone they're playing on the schedule. What do they expect when they go to see the Jaguars? Are they expecting the same old, or are they expecting what they saw last year? Are they a target, or are they a rollover? That's what I think when I hear that kind of stuff.
Well, and that might be, that's a good way to look at it too. And here's the thing. The bottom line is, I think there's a subconscious when you play the Cleveland Browns, the Jags, teams like that, the Jets, that like, okay, listen. I mean, it's a football game.
It's
Anybody
hard.
can win.
It's the
sports.
NFL, sure.
But there's a different kind of focus when you're playing the Chiefs, the Patriots, now the Bills, teams like that. Because there's a track record. There's a history. And you almost know what to expect, right? You know why they beat you. You know if you're going up against the Patriots, even if their roster's not better than yours, that you know you can't make mistakes because they're probably not going to make mistakes. They're not going to get out-coached, maybe on the defensive side, with the exception of last year on the offensive side. They certainly got out-coached. But there's just this expectation, right? There's aura. The Jags don't have that. You go into Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's just okay. We're better than Pittsburgh, we think. Yeah, but it's still Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got a lot of history there, and Pittsburgh doesn't lose much. So, again, I think that's what this year's hurdle is. And it might even be next year's hurdle if they do it this year. But it's flipping it into a winner where you're dangerous. And I think they're, again, easier said than done. I think Doug Pederson knows that's easier said than done. I don't think the players actually know, because I think there's some you can be very naive as a player, like, hey, we're going to do this again, and we're just going to keep getting better. It's not how sports operates. And I think that will be fascinating to watch how the Jags handle the successful part. I think Doug will put them in a good position to do so. And I do think there are some players, and the players have a lot to play for. This is going to be a roster that probably will see some changes next year more significantly. And so they're playing for that next phase. I think you got guys like Trevor Lawrence playing for elite status. I think you have players like Rayshon Jenkins saying, hey, I can do that every year. Cisco, I can be a big-time safety in this league. So what are you motivated by? Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd, motivated by the criticism maybe, or the lack of living up to their own expectations. So I think the Jags have plenty of that, which I like. They do still have a lot of that, but they come at it from a different standpoint. They are the favorite to win the AFC South. They should be the favorite to win the AFC South. They are a contender, which means everybody knows that. And now you've got to be able to handle that. And I think Doug will handle it fine. I think the locker room has the makeup to handle almost any situation fine. And we'll see, because the proof will be in September, October, November, and then some.
Doesn't it feel this team can stand up to almost any adversity after what you saw last year? Like, don't you have absolute faith in a guy like Doug Pederson, Trevor Lawrence, even Afoya Oluwakin, some of the captains on the defense, to just not take their eye off the big picture? You know, having a bad game, having a bad quarter, throwing 4 interceptions in the first quarter of a game. I mean, any of it, it just seems like this team calm, cool, and collective, and really mirrors what they're seeing from their coach and their quarterback.
Well, one of the problems we have around here is we don't have enough evidence of how this has happened in the past, right? So we don't, there's not enough examples of it. Okay, I can compare this to that or whatever. What I do like about this team is kind of what I just mentioned. I think you have Trevor Lawrence, who knows how to handle being elite. He knows what it looks like. Like, while we're all raving about the last 2 months, I'm not sure Trevor's raving about it. I think he's a sigh of relief that that's where he's back to, but he also knows there's more to get. I think that's the makeup of him, right? Yeah. And then I also think you have guys, to your point, that can handle just about anything because of the way they're built. Foye Oluokun, his whole story, from underdog guy to $15 million guy. And I don't think you lose that. I think that's built in you. So you look at that locker room, they've really done a nice job of piecing together that locker room, where I think there are plenty of stories like Trevor that have had success, handled success. I think there are plenty of stories like Foye Oluokun, who have been kind of underdog guys that have rose to the top and want to stay at the top. So the makeup is good, I think, to handle both situations. But I do think human nature says it's easier to almost handle the failure. You can be the underdog. You can play with the chip on the shoulder. You can be motivated, even if it kind of feels like a whatever motivation. You can use it as fuel. How do you stay on top? It's what we say about the great athletes. LeBrons, the Tigers, the everybody else. What motivates you? You got enough money. You've got all the accolades. People already think you're great. Like, why do you still go to work every day? Honestly, I don't get it sometimes. I'm not sure I could get there from an athlete standpoint. Like, if I had as much money as those guys had, I mean, there are days that I would be easily, see ya, I'm off in the sunset. Like, I've done enough.
I don't know.
I think that's my makeup. Like, I think I would be like, okay, this was great. I've done enough.
But I got to imagine you make it to that level, it's no accident. You're probably a hyper-competitive person.
That is true.
You've been told your whole life that you're one of the best in the world at whatever it is that you're doing. And then you get there and some other guy is up there going, nope, that's me, not you. Like, that alone, I think, would keep me coming to work every day.
So there's always something, right?
Yeah.
There's always something. But you've got to want that. Now, you've got to be bothered by that. And are you bothered by that? I don't know. I don't know, because I'm not there. I've never been there. I won't be there, right? So I'm not going to live in that space. So I can't pretend to live in that space either. Yeah. Like, I just don't think that way, and I'm not that way, and I think that's what makes those guys so special. But any walk of life, I mean, there's a lot of work those guys put in. I always say this about LeBron especially, but so many, Steph Curry, others. What people don't give them credit for, because they're so good and so talented and physically gifted, they don't give them credit for how hard they work.
Yeah.
Their mentality and their just off the charts ability to compete, and that competition part of it, right? That's
Competing
what makes
and discipline. Yeah.
makes it so hard for guys like Michael Jordan and others to walk away, because you don't have that competition. So what do? Well, they go to the golf course, or they go gamble or whatever, because that's competition to them.
Oh, totally.
Right? There's win or lose at the end of that. And that's why they get into it. So, again, the Jags aren't there yet. The Jags still have other steps to go, which I thought that was pretty cool. Cisco said that, because there's still more steps to go to carry the chip, Like, they're not there yet.
Yeah.
They're not where the Chiefs have been, and maybe even where the Eagles got. Like, maybe this would be a better concern if they got where the Eagles got. They were still a couple steps away. But on the heels of what they accomplished last year, I think it is fair to ask, how are they going to handle the success of it? And to me, talking to those guys today, they're pretty fired up and motivated. So I think that's a good thing. Calvin Ridley being on the field, it's cool to see, but the question we should ask is, how important is it?
Well, that question was answered by multiple people at a press conference this morning.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's what we need to punch home. Sure, it's great to see number 0 out there, great, the 0 jersey now in the NFL, Calvin Ridley, what he's accomplished, but the importance of that to make the Jags what they need to be, I think when you see it out on the field, you're like, all right. I mean, sure, he's going to look fine. Like, I'm not going to get over dramatic about him making catches and looking fine and doing all that kind of stuff. I mean, at this time of year, you're going to look that way. What he does in September will matter.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be he can catch the ball. I know it. He's a good-looking athlete. We knew that. Like, we know these things. And they're saying all the right things about him. But the significance of Calvin Ridley strikes home a little bit today, because you see him on the field after 6 months of talking about him being on the field.
I'm actually a little bit worried when it comes to Calvin Ridley's not Ridley's, but the fan base's expectation of Calvin Ridley in the season he's about to put in. Clearly, the guy is a hard worker. You've heard nothing but positive things about Calvin. He's showing up when he doesn't have to. He's doing the things leaders do. He's doing the things mature men do, not children. But at the same time, you are talking about a guy who's been off the field for a very long time. And the expectations I think some people are putting on him might be a little bit unfair until he gets back in the scheme of things. I was looking at a tweet that I'll bring to the show a little bit later in the 5 o'clock hour. Devonta Adams giving an interview on a podcast, and he gave really high praise, league-wide praise to Calvin Ridley in terms of naming him a top 5 wide receiver. And with all the names we talk about often on this show, And we talk about wide receivers a bunch, including last week when we had some rankings from Mike Clay. But top 5 is high praise from one of the best in the game. And so I imagine Calvin's got high expectations for himself as well. You just have to wonder when the rubber meets the road if he's going to be able to be patient with his redevelopment as he may need to be.
Yeah, and I think they'll probably temper that a little bit. I mean, the Players Tribune article put some numbers on it. He kind of put that on himself, and I think he's fine to handle that.
Do you think they put him on a pitch count of any kind?
Well, even today he was working off to the side at times. So I think, yes, I think they're going to acclimate him back after a couple of years and be very smart about that, especially this time of year. Now, as it comes to playing, maybe in August, they won't do much because the guy knows how to be a pro and play, and he knows what the real time of year is. But I can't imagine come September. I mean, unless there's some reason.
Just let him go full bore.
Kasey, this is a thing. Aaron always has this about Calvin Ridley. He thinks the expectations are too high, being able to walk in and just get it done.
Yeah, not that he won't eventually become wide receiver one, all-pro, Pro Bowler.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I think it's a reasonable expectation. I also think I'm not that concerned about it, Kasey. Maybe I should be, but like if playing fantasy football, I'm picking Calvin Ridley pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's reason to believe that there will be some acclimation. When does anybody jump into anything after a year off of anything and be fantastic?
I mean, I jumped into this show. I was pretty fantastic from the start.
Well, you weren't off for a year. You still did a morning show. You know what I'm saying? Calvin Ridley, it's not like he was playing flag football at the YMCA. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
So, I mean, there will be some time. I guarantee you there will be some time. I wonder how they will handle it in the preseason and if they try to get those reps out of the way in the preseason by playing him a lot. I don't think they necessarily will, but I think that's a way to go, that you play him a quarter, a half in multiple of the games. You can try to get that rust out as quick as possible, and then you open up with at least a team last year who wasn't good in the secondary. So maybe you can expedite that process, but I think there'll be a reacclimation period for sure.
That's a good point of how much they will play him in the preseason to get rid of that. And maybe this time of year does show a little bit of that. I'm just not a big believer that this time of year showcases a bunch, but maybe it tells Doug and everybody else like, hey, we probably should play him a little bit more, get some of that rust off, and maybe he's not where we thought he would be. Or like, hey, we don't need it. Don't worry about it. And of course, injuries come into play there too,
That's
right? You just don't want to lose anybody that time of year. So everybody first says, all right, let's not worry about playing as much unless we have to play those guys.
But also on the other side of that, the injury of, Calvin possibly trying to push too hard to get back up to speed as quickly as possible, maybe exceeding what his body will allow him to do. You got to be careful of that stuff as well. Kasey, I like your point. I kind of wonder if they get the heads up as they move towards or through the preseason that he needs a little more time to work out some of the kinks, if they'll put him and Trevor out there a little bit more or just work off on their own with those two guys. But clearly that relationship is something they find extremely important. You don't really find the coaching staff poo-pooing or downplaying the expectations for Calvin either. They're all in. They're jumping on board.
Nah, I mean, listen, I think everybody's on board. In fact, Tony Polster just said Calvin will do great and our offense should get 1,200 yards, but he will open up others if he doesn't get the yards and catches, which I do think that's the case, right?
A little hedge of a bet there.
But I mean, again, that's the expectation I think people have for him, is to come in and deliver big-time yardage. Any surprise for you guys that when you walk out there today, Walker Little left tackle, Anton Harrison right tackle? Should we be surprised by that? Again, this is a football team right now that has 3 left tackles. They really don't have a right tackle.
When we were talking about Walker Little, Anton Harrison last week and the week before, I hadn't heard any official confirmation or anything like that, but I had just assumed Walker Little would take up that left tackle spot, only because he finished last year as a left tackle and because you'd be handing over that starting left tackle spot to a guy who's never played an NFL snap in his life, and you want to get out to a really quick start with Trevor and crew running that offense very cleanly and very familiarly. So I would assume Walker would have been the guy. So no, I wasn't surprised, but still a little bit nervous on what that line will have to offer up front.
Well, they're going to cross-train and do all that stuff. I mean, heck, Walker Little's playing guard a little bit too. I mean, can they do that? See that? We'll hear from them throughout the week. I even asked Walker Little today. I'm like, what are you? Do you even know? You're 2.5 years in, 2 years and change into your NFL career, and do we even know what you are?
He's like, I'm playing.
A left tackle and a right tackle. I mean, he did kind of chuckle at it, but I mean, I'm serious. Like, I think that's got to be a little hard for a guy, first of all, and I think he's handled it very well. So what this does say is that first-round investment, really the guy that's on watch is Walker Little, because Walker Little's going to hold down. Let's just say this is the way it goes. Walker Little's going to hold down the left tackle spot until Cam Robinson comes back, and then Cam Robinson's going to slide in. And they're hoping Anton Harrison is the right tackle, and he just stays there. So Walker Little is either going to have to be maneuvered around, or he's going to be a depth play, which means overall they just don't view him as a great player. Probably a very good player for them and an important player for them. But that's a rookie going in and taking that right tackle spot right away. I guess that's the writing on the wall here.
Yeah, it would make sense that if that happened, it would tell you what you need to know about how they ultimately feel or where Walker belongs on that depth chart. And he's not the only one being cross-trained this time around, although are they cross-training Anton Harrison as well?
They're going to cross-train everybody.
Yeah, I heard Barch is sliding over a little bit.
Basically, he said everybody but quarterback, which, again, like you do that this time of year in case you need a pinch hit. But I will go back. I'll forever believe this and say this. They can do that this time of year because that's a little bit what this time of year is for. But they need a plan. Like, they don't plan on
rotating
moving
guys.
Anton Harrison to guard, right? Now, again, Walker Little to get on the field, if he's able to outproduce other guards that have been doing this for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, like Tyler Shatley, I mean, more power to him. But I don't see that happening. I just don't see a guy. I think that's a very tricky thing to do. So right now, the way I see it, by week 7, let's just assume Cam Robinson's got a 6-game suspension. By week 7, it's Cam Robinson, it's Anton Harrison, and Walker Little's the backup guy.
So you're Doug Pederson, or, instead of Trent Baalke, you're Brent Talkie. Okay, you're the guy making the decision now.
Brent Talkie.
Cam Robinson comes back. He's probably got a little rust to kick off, obviously injury, and then what we assume will eventually become the suspension. If Walker Little's playing out of his mind, how do you handle that?
Well, it'll be the same. We pose the same thing with Anton Harrison if he's playing really well. But here's how you handle it. You got to pay $17 million. I highly doubt he goes on the bench.
All right, so then how long a leash do you give him to get up to speed? What if he gets in there and it's just the offense isn't working as well?
Yeah, then, now you're in a land of what ifs, like how desperate are you? Where are you as a football? Is it just, if Cam Robinson's been playing a lot of football, like it's never looked like, oh my gosh, he can't block.
He's not going to forget how to ride a bike.
Right.
But, he is coming off an injury and, time off the football field. If the Jags are in the hunt and he's back, 6, 7 games into the year and the first 2 or 3 games he gets in there, it looks kind of messy. I wonder what the leash would look like, especially with all that depth on the line.
Any concern at all about a couple of guys that aren't showing up? Fellas, Josh Allen. We know about Evan Ingram, right? We've talked about it a bunch, but Josh Allen and Cam Robinson not being there.
Yeah.
For a voluntary part of this. Coaches will take the high road here, but
it would have been nice to see Josh Allen there, especially it's going to be a really important year for Trayvon, and those two guys I think will be working in conjunction with each other a lot on the football field, and that pass rush was one that certainly needed to step up last year. And so to not have him at OTAs, granted it's voluntary, and I don't know, it would have been nice, I think, as a Jags fan to see Josh there as pumped as the rest of the guys.
No, I'm more concerned about the guy you drafted in the first round that's played 2,000 snaps at left tackle, and you're going to have him play right tackle all of a sudden. I'm more concerned about that.
Yeah, so, okay, so jump in on, so that is concerning to you. Like,
well, then why'd you pick him? You're picking right tackle in the first round? You have a right tackle. You have Walker Little.
Yeah, listen, I'm not.
You're going to pick a guy that doesn't play this position? If they eventually move him to left tackle, then this is all not for anything. But, you're going to pick a left tackle who has never really played right tackle, and you're going to make him your right tackle, having never done it.
How screwed up would that be if you in this hypothetical, I'm assuming you're moving Anton Harrison to left tackle, Walker Little to right tackle?
In
the hypothetical.
Yes, yeah. That's what I thought.
How screwed up would that be to take Walker Little and tell him to sit instead of play right tackle where you eventually would hope to move him? And it's just messy.
It is. The whole thing is messy. And that's the thing. So he's Cam's replacement next year, but we're going to play him at right tackle now? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Again, another first-round pick, what is he going to do? We don't know. Tell us.
Well, so I don't know what to... We just interpreted it 2 different ways. And by the way, that's the way I would interpret it. I don't dismiss your interpretation of it. We've been saying this for a while. It's he's got to go play left tackle. He played 1 game at right tackle with no practice is the story.
53 snaps.
And so you drafted him to play a position that he's never played, really.
Great.
Like, that seems bizarre. And listen, I'm not trying to make it seem like one's quarterback and one's offensive line, but I do think they're two different distinct positions. And I've always said, I think you're better at one spot or another. And I can tell you right now, Anton Harrison is a better left tackle than he is a right tackle. Like, absolutely, he's better.
So why start him at right tackle?
Well, but Kasey's interpretation is certainly, or his heat on this is more toward that direction. Mine is more toward, what is this saying about Walker Little? Because basically you're going to replace, if this were to line up, you run out there in September. Again, I mean, there is a big if there, right? I mean, but they did just roll out here in the first OTA like this. So if that's the way this progresses, and it's left Walker, Anton Harrison to the right, because that's your future right tackle now that you drafted in the first round, you're going to play him, which, by the way, Doug Pederson has said that, well, we drafted these guys, we're going to play them. Well, he also drafted Walker Little in the second round a few years ago. We still don't know what the hell he is, and it might be clear that you're not really a big fan of him if you're just going to stick him at left tackle for 6 weeks until Cam Robinson comes back and then replace him. So that's the way I almost, like, there's two different ways to look at this. But the bottom line for me is anybody that thinks Cam Robinson is coming back from whenever his suspension is over and sitting the bench, I'm not buying it at $17 million a year. I don't believe that.
Yeah, it's a tough sell.
Somebody's taking a seat.
Right, which... Yeah, if he comes back and plays, that's fine. But I would rather them, and I know that means that you would have your first-round pick on the bench instead of playing on the right side, which he's never done. But if the plan is for him to play right tackle and then next year when Cam's gone, move him to left tackle, I kind of hate that because you spent a whole year learning this position and now you're going to move him back over there. And then if you don't really trust Walker Little, why are you going to play him at the most important tackle spot?
It's a good point.
It's so odd. It's clunky. It's weird.
And then, I was looking at the schedule going, well, maybe the Jags are a little bit wary of some of the opponents early in the season, maybe significant pass rush coming at Trevor's blind side, but the Colts twice, the Texans, the Falcons, I guess, have an increased pass rush. The Bills are good on the rush, but it's not like you have all kinds of red flags flying up on the schedule going, look, we understand Anton Harrison eventually, but we need Walker now. So to your point, Case, it's
like I'd rather him learn left tackle in the Cam suspension, and then if he's got to sit, he's got to sit because Cam's got to be out there. But don't play him at right and then try to move him to left next year.
Well, that's the other part of it, right? Because if you, I thought this was a play to say, okay, you got your 6 games and we'll see how he does. But at the very least, he's your guy for the next 3 years, and then you can unload Cam after the season. Well, now, basically, if you have that theory that, and most people do, that they're going to unload the money on Cam Robinson after this season, well, does that mean Harrison's going to move over, or is Walker Little now your 1-year stopgap at left tackle because now this is his last year of a contract year in 2024. So it just raises a lot of questions. Here's the one thing. I'll defend the Jags in this. Last year, they needed 3 of them. And it was a big deal they had 3 of them. And so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they've got 3 of them again. And all they got to do is figure out which 2 are really good and be good at the positions. And if they're good at left tackle and right tackle, who the hell cares how it shakes out, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Right? I mean, those players probably do, but
and
the agents probably do.
Because you spend draft capital on it that you could have had in the first round.
But I did say that all last year. I said, Walker Little, second-round draft pick. He hasn't played.
What do you got?
But then he did play, and it was impactful, it was meaningful, and it was important. And right now, with the Cam Robinson suspension, one way or another, it's going to be important. So it turns out to be a very good draft pick, even though he hasn't played as many games as most second-round draft picks have played.
Doesn't it bother anybody that it's not like Walker has lost the opportunity by his play? He's done nothing but deliver for the team when they've called upon him.
It feels like he has. Yeah, it feels like he's been pretty good. That's why I almost want to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? You know what you know.
Yes.
We don't know enough about Anton Harrison at this level.
No.
Especially on the right side. Brent Friends just getting rolling. Long first segment. We're just trying to set records on this first segment each and every show. We'll continue to do that. We've got overtime tonight, 6 o'clock, right here on ESPN 690 with Kurtz and Middleton. And our final episode of No Gate Fees, 7 o'clock. Oh, the high school stuff is a-changing. And we'll talk all about it tonight, plus baseball and softball teams in the area. No Gate Fees, 7 o'clock on ESPN 690.
It's a mostly cloudy day today with off and on rain and a few storms and temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s. We stay cloudy tonight with some isolated coastal showers near and east of I-95. Grab that umbrella from the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Corey Sema.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
This is a busy time of year for families, especially if you have teenagers, kids getting their license, kids going off to college, and someone probably needs a new car, and that's why you go to Nimnick Buick GMC, #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Looking for the perfect truck or SUV? Nimnick Buick GMC has more models on the ground than they've had in over 2 years. Looking for a used car under $18,000? Nimnick has a great selection of over 300 used cars, trucks, and SUVs to choose from. Visit the showroom off Phillips Highway or shop NimnickBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Right now, American Window Products is offering the newest features in window technology with Ultra Dual Low E glass and insulated vinyl frames with magnet weather stripping on windows for an airtight seal to help reduce your energy usage, all at an affordable price. This exclusive offer is for a limited time, so act now to save big with 12 months, zero interest financing. Schedule a free estimate at AmericanWindowProducts.com. American Window Products, the window professionals. Financing at time of sale for new orders only.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
We want you to join the show on ESPN 690. Brent Friends, daily, 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. Make a comment in the iCryo chat chamber on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Be part of the discussion and visit iCryo in St. Johns County. Elevate your lifestyle.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Dig Local believes community gardens, farmers markets, and nutrition education are sustainable routes to a future where everyone can eat better. Shop the Beaches Green Market this and every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Penman Park on Penman Road, just north of Beach Boulevard, for fresh local fruits and vegetables, plants, meats, eggs, baked goods, honey, wellness products, ready-to-eat snacks and drinks, and local artist craft goods. If you have an EBT card, stock up on free fruits and vegetables and edible plants. Go to diglocal.org to learn more.
On average, an artificial limb for a child starts at $5,000, and the first prosthetic for an adult can cost up to $50,000, making it nearly impossible for disabled children or veterans to afford the limb they need. At Life Giving Limbs, we cover the cost of these prosthetics, giving recipients a chance at receiving a new limb and a new start on life. Please help by donating now. Visit lifegivinglimbs.com or call 469-601-8523.
Inflation has pushed up the cost of just about everything, which means if you bought life insurance a few years ago, it might not be enough to protect your family today. Now is the time to get the insurance you need at a price you can afford. In a hurry? Don't worry. Call Select Quote now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's right. You can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam in under an hour.
Call Select Quote at 1-800-613-8990. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now.
Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercial.
What are you doing on June 3rd, Jacksonville? Come out to the Jacksonville Fairgrounds for Blue Zones Project Jacksonville's kickoff. This community-wide well-being event will feature food trucks, live DJs, performances, health screenings, and so much more. To learn more, follow us on Instagram at BZP Jacksonville or visit us at BlueZonesProjectJacksonville.com. That's BlueZonesProjectJacksonville.com. We'll see you June 3rd at the fairgrounds from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we kick off our summer of living our very best lives with Blue Zones Project Jacksonville. Be well.
Hey, it's Brent Mortno from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. Brent Friends on a Monday. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Did you have a fantastic weekend?
It was my kind of weekend.
Oh, that's good.
No one else
Whatever
would
the
really
heck that
enjoy it.
is.
It means I sat in the house from Friday afternoon until Monday morning.
Really?
I mean, we went out.
My gosh, you really don't leave.
We went to the basketball court Sunday morning, me and the two kids. My daughter played in the sandbox. My son was shooting around with me. We did a little bit of that, but that was like at 8:30 in the morning for an hour and a half. We went to the pool. That was like an hour and change. A couple of trips to go eat places, but for the most part, we had nothing planned. It was perfect. I watched so many movies, so many TV shows. I went through this season in succession. I went through 7 episodes in a day and a half. That's a 1-hour TV show, no commercials. It was great.
Well, what was your best movie?
You're floored. You're like, I don't understand how this is great. I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That was the best movie I saw.
Casey, would you watch that movie?
I haven't, but like I would.
Of course you would.
It's like it's like a very big thing. I
Is
don't know
it?
if you know this. It's
I
like
don't.
the biggest brand on the planet, Marvel.
Oh, that's the Marvel thing?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Pause. What did you think Ant-Man was?
I have no idea.
A documentary about
in that
ants?
spot.
Based on what I normally bring to the show.
This guy thought you were watching something about ants.
Say it again. What's the name of it?
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
I thought it was some sci-fi thing.
It is.
But it's a Marvel sci-fi thing.
Yes, a Marvel superhero sci-fi thing.
It's Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. And the lady from Lost. I forget her name.
I'm lost, all right.
She's great.
Casey, how about you? You watch any movies? Marvel movies?
No.
Did you ever watch Good Will Hunting yet?
No. What is her name, bro? I'm going to sit here this whole show.
The lady from Lost? You have a whole computer next to you.
I know.
You can
I
just
don't want to
look it
use
up.
it. The lady that plays Wasp. Yeah. Don't look it up. That's no fun.
I won't.
Well, I won't help you. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Casey Kurtz as they go to work on
Evangeline Lilly.
That's it.
Evangeline. You could have made that up, and I've been like, yeah, that's
that's right.
I didn't make
He's
it
right.
up. I looked it up with this computer in front of me. It was a good weekend, guys.
I don't know why Twitter has to get so mad. Lil New 02.
Oh, boy.
Sticking to the board and drafting BAP looks like this. Or BPA.
Yeah, best player available.
Then says, ... figure it out.
Cool.
Meaning the team? Figure it out?
I don't know if he's talking about us or the team.
Team's like, we need a corner. Someone call Anton Harrison. Tell him to get out
Literally.
there.
They're like, yeah, we're just going to play him at slot corner. Because we drafted best player available because a guy on Twitter wanted us to.
Yeah,
Nice. Good work, guys. Way to go. We figured it out.
It'll definitely be something to keep an eye on. The other thing to keep an eye on, this is a defense that looks hungry, guys.
Yeah.
Talked to a lot of defensive players today, or a few of them, more on the defensive side than the offensive side. And I think they're pretty hungry defense. We'll talk a little more Trayvon Walker later on, but we already know Devin Lloyd. We've had the conversation. And I think guys like Rayshon Jenkins and Cisco and everyone, really. I mean, I think they want to do their part. I think this looks like an offensive team. And I wonder how much that bothers them, that they're labeled as the offensive team. Like in Kansas City, when you're labeled as Patrick Mahomes and this great offense and the defense that, whatever.
Bengals
we don't really
too.
need them.
Yep.
Do they get mad about that, right? I mean, everybody's got an ego.
Who's they in this scenario?
I mean, the defensive players, like in that room, like, hey, don't forget about us. And I wonder if that's almost a little bit of a motivation factor for the defense.
I bet it is. I mean, how can it not be? All these guys, they're just desperate for any kind of bulletin board material they can find. Any kind of perceived slight. Don't let Doug Pederson sit outside Catullo's for another 5 to 10 minutes again this year. We'll have another perceived slight against this man. He'll go out and win 18 games in a row. Careful.
Can the defense be good?
I think they'd be better than good.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You're bullish on the defense.
Here's the deal. I believe in Rayshon Jenkins being a consistently decent player on this team. And I think Doug Pederson does too, based on the comments he was making. I believe in Tyson Campbell, Andre Cisco. I believe in Foye Oluokun. I believe in Josh Allen, believe it or not, especially this season. I think Trayvon Walker is going to make a step forward. I want to give Devin Lloyd another shot to really turn this thing around for his career.
You're a believer.
I am a believer. Am I a believer in the defensive interior? Not as much, but maybe they could bring me there.
Their checkbooks say they are.
They could bring me there, maybe. Do I need to see some more stuff before I can get bullish on them? Yes. But I'm a believer in those other spots.
Casey, can this be a really good defense?
Probably not. I mean, what's the evidence that they will be?
Well, they're fast. They're hawkish.
They do have playmakers. Like they are.
Do they have enough of them?
Defense.
Do they have enough of them?
I don't know what enough is on the defensive side.
How many is enough? How about that?
What's a few guys that play? I mean, Cisco feels like a playmaker. Jenkins proved that he was a playmaker last
Campbell's
year.
a consistent playmaker. Maybe he's not pick sixing everything.
I'm not putting that on Jenkins because the year before we were like, this guy shouldn't be on the field.
But last year he was a playmaker multiple times.
You asked if there's evidence of it, and I think Jenkins gave us some evidence.
But I think he also gave you evidence that it might have been a one-year flash in the pan.
But he had played 4 years to get himself a $40 million contract that gave evidence that he wasn't.
Okay.
Just
agree
a
to
guy.
disagree. I'll give
Foyer?
you Cisco. I'll give you Campbell.
Foyer
is interesting because he's not really like this flashy playmaker.
He's not a home
he's
run
just
hitter.
Consistent guy.
Yeah, you're not getting past him.
I guess the real story is Josh Allen, is Trayvon Walker,
right?
And Devin Lloyd. Actually, the one thing you can say from last year is a bit of a playmaker.
That's the consistency where he needed to step up a little bit.
I mean, he had some big time. That was the weird part about Devin Lloyd's year. He statistically was good in a lot of those categories that we often say, how did he do, right? So, yeah, I think there's some evidence there. I don't know if there's enough evidence there, but I think there's stuff to buy into on the defense. And the one reason I would say I'd be bullish on the defense, we talk about this on the offensive side only, I think, and that is Trevor and Doug and year two offense and continuity. We got a lot of that on the defensive side. You know, Mike Caldwell, this is year two of him. And really, it's year two of him being a coordinator. How much did he learn? Like, how much will that help him?
Are there any there's no new starters on defense? Likely.
No, there's not.
No.
No. Talk about continuity. Everyone's
Unless
coming.
they bring somebody in.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, they will start differently than they started last year without Shaq, but other than that.
Okay.
Oh, good point. That's a fair point.
But they're still returning all the starters they ended with.
It's the same humans.
Yeah.
You'll just slide Trey Herndon in.
Same human beings. So, anyway, I think there's reason to be somewhat bullish on the defense. I don't know if I'd be over the top bullish on the defense because here's the thing that catches me. And Jags defensive guys, if you're listening right now, what do you mean you're not bullish on us? Well, because I think turnovers are a fortuitous thing. And everybody preaches turnovers. If turnovers were something that you could coach and you could count on, then everybody in the NFL would get them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You need a little luck. You need to be in the right place at the right time. You need bounces to go your way. And the Jags had that last year. The Jags had some good bounces all the way down to the wire against Tennessee when they force a fumble and it bounces to Josh Allen. Like, that's what happens in turnovers. So you can't count on it. You can't rely on that. That's my problem with saying, okay, this defense is going to be unbelievable. Here's the thing. The defense doesn't have to be unbelievable. That's the nice thing. The other part is the Jags, for the first time in a very long time, might be able to rely on playing out in front. They might have leads. You know, if you go back to 2017, they had a bunch of leads. Their defense actually helped provide those leads. And then they continued to eat and take advantage of it. But you didn't know it going into the season. In 2018, it never continued. Last year, the Jags didn't have a bunch of leads until later in the year, and they actually rallied back more than anything else, it felt like, for a good chunk of that season when things even went right. This year, if you lead football games, now you allow that defense to do some things that they did last year and even better. And then you put it together, and I could see this defense being like a playmaking defense in that role as a front-running defense, and that's where you want to get your defense to be.
It's interesting you say it like that because I almost had the exact opposite feeling about the same thought. We read a couple of, it must have been mid last week, maybe early last week, some statistical analysis on turnovers and how obviously, like you said, you can't coach them. You can't draw up a play for, hey, we need a turnover here, so we're calling the turnover play number 3. It's not a thing. So often they're random, but they are fortuitous. The more you get, usually the more you win. If you look at how often the Jags turned the ball over last year, we've talked about it a bunch of times. Beginning of the season, it was happening fast and furious, and at the end of the season, it was not. Last 6 games of the season, there was no turnovers, counting the 2 playoff games. The last 9 games of the season, I think you had 3, and that was probably one of the more rough stretches for the team in terms of one loss last year coming up. Towards the end of last year on the run towards the playoffs. So if you can't schedule the turnovers, the next best thing would be to be running alongside of these guys, keeping their offenses off the field, your offense on the field. I think that's where we're going to see the defense step up this year. You're going to see the offense taking more time on the field, teams playing from behind on offense as the opposition, and I really do think that's where we'll see some ball hawking.
Well, and then there's
there's
a freshness to that, right? Yeah. I mean, you're a fresh defense coming back on, not a worn-out defense. So, and they got more physical to be able to handle some of those situations where they can get off the field, maybe in short yardage situations. They feel like they're a more physical football team. By the way, Andre Sisco put on like 8 pounds of muscle.
That's great to see.
Looks good. Well, I think it is. We see guys don't always play well or better with that. Like added weight.
Young guys, though?
I mean, he'll be fine. I'm not alarmed by it. I think it's a good thing, too, but I also don't think it's an automatic, hey, this is going to be great.
I hear that. I go, there's the man body. He's growing into it.
And that might be the case because that's a good call. He's a young player that's continuing to mature and adds some pounds of muscle to his body. Certainly doesn't feel like it's a bad thing. But not everybody that gains weight, loses weight, adjusts as well to that weight.
Yep.
So it's something to at least keep an eye on. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690. Here on a Monday, we'll continue to talk about the Jags and OTAs. Got a bunch more topics around the Jacksonville Jaguars, including Trayvon Walker, that pass rush, where else they could get help, and maybe some unheralded players that could step up to the plate. We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. We'll have 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000. All you have to do is enter the correct keyword at ESPN690.com to be eligible to win. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply. ESPN 690 pays your bills. Sponsored by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Weekdays at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 2, and 5 p.m. Tune in to win from ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. And now try Babbel for free by texting radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
Join Blue Zones Project Jacksonville on June 3rd for our kickoff event. This event will feature food truck, live DJs, performances, and vendors, all with the focus of kicking off your summer well. We'll see you on June 3rd at the Jax Fairgrounds from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Be well.
Here's Ben and John Lupo, owners of Beards Diamonds.
It's funny, my dad has sold people engagement rings, and now I'm selling their kids engagement rings and anniversary gifts and birthday gifts now for their children and grandkids. So it's pretty cool to see that family tree grow.
We're blessed with the relationships we've built over the years. Our non-commissioned sales associates are experts. They have only one goal: your complete satisfaction.
We have a 6,000 square foot showroom with anything and everything that you can want. Beards Diamonds has been family owned and locally operated since 1981.
40 years later, it's still our goal to offer the largest selection of quality diamond jewelry at the best prices in Jacksonville, guaranteed. The reason we can make that promise? As Beards owners, we are on the floor helping you with your purchase. We have no corporate bosses setting the price. The chain stores can't touch our prices. They just can't.
Check out our full inventory at beardsdiamonds.com. Come in and see us. We'd love to help you. Anybody that steps foot in our stores is automatically a part of the Beards family.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
This is Jacoby Pittman, and the 29th Miracle on Ashley Street is back under the big white tent, June 16th at 11 a.m. This year is a backyard barbecue, and you're invited. This is your opportunity to help the Clara White Mission fight hunger, and you can be a sponsor or a celebrity server. Sign up to volunteer or get tickets online. For more information, call 904 354-4162 or email me info@clarawhitemission.org.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. So we have a formal investigation here in the studio?
Oh, yeah. So people here know we have a preferred, Kasey has a preferred drink in the control room.
It's not we?
No, I don't prefer the drink. I prefer coffee, water, and a little bit of Coke Zero when I'm being spicy. But Kasey has a different preference. He has boxes and boxes of this stuff in there. And it was getting stolen, according to Kasey. People were coming in here and taking cans of Kasey Celsius. And Kasey, you thought you had a suspect, but you had no evidence.
Well, sometimes you piece things together and you start to do math and things start to add up and you're like, there could only be a few humans it could be.
You start to do math.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like time on the clock and when people are in the parking lot, stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
This right now is a reminder, by the way, to all break rooms that have the hidden cameras and people steal your food in the break room.
Oh, yeah,
and this
sure.
bothers people. Like I think we brought this up before. Like it is. I've been pissed off before when my food's been stolen.
And the rest of the building was pissed at you when you were stealing whipped cream.
Oh, that's different. That's not like somebody's meal.
We definitely understand.
That's my meal.
It wasn't that long ago. I was stealing a coworker's cream for coffee. I felt so bad. I bought him a whole new bottle and told him, I was like, hey, I've been stealing your creamer all week.
I actually started to do that to Janice down in the TV side of things. She's the best. And I said, I'd borrowed it a couple of times, like not a lot, but I was like, I need a little creamer. And so I went to the store and I bought like 4 of them and I put her name on it and said, hey, I bought you these.
Kasey, you think it's funny that Brent calls that borrowing from Janice?
A little bit.
I borrowed a little.
You borrowed.
But then I paid it back tenfold.
So
Be good if crypto could do that.
That would be really cool. You wouldn't see me here no more. So me and Kasey, as we're leaving Friday, Kasey goes, hey, buddy, let's set up an investigation. Let's get a sting operation going. Because we thought the person who Kasey had as the main suspect was going to be in the control room right after us. So we set up Kasey's camera, pointed at the fridge.
We did.
And the plan was to hit record, and then later that night before I went to bed, I would log into that computer from home and turn off the recording.
Yes.
And I happened to forget that, Brent. So when I woke up, we
had your part.
We had a 17-hour, 47-gigabyte recording.
Well, it's not even when you woke up. It's when I got here to do more work at noon the next day. It wasn't like 7 a.m.
I did get a text from Kasey. He goes, hey, Aaron, your 17-hour video is ready for viewing.
You totally missed your part.
But I did open the video back up this morning, and I
went through all 17 hours.
I made sure to skim through the first 3, which is when this person would have been in the room, and nothing.
Nothing.
You found nothing.
But there was a development, Kasey.
There was a development because as we had the camera set up looking at the fridge, but there are boxes of the Celsius, as formerly mentioned.
Like a 12er.
Like a 12er is exactly what it is. And I'm not going to lie, we planted 3 in the fridge so there would be cold ones because they all disappeared last week. So we knew the fridge was being checked. We planted 3 of the bad flavor. I won't tell you what that is, but 3 of the bad flavor in the fridge for it to be stolen because we had the camera set up.
However, we wanted this to be stolen.
However,
we wanted to catch the criminal in the act.
Rat in the cheese.
Now, there's 3 from the box missing outside of my 3. So they went outside of the fridge and took warm 3 Celsius.
Instead of the ones in the fridge or in addition to?
Instead. Now, I don't know if they saw the camera.
So this
I don't know what happened.
This is what's making me laugh. Number one, that the criminal outsmarted Kasey's sting operation.
A little bit.
But I also think there's a non-zero chance, Brent, that the 3 missing from the 12er are the 3 that Kasey put in the fridge, and he forgot.
No.
You might be the criminal, Kasey.
I'm not.
You might be on the hunt for yourself right now.
It wasn't me.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they're the bad flavor. I just told you that. There's 6 missing from the box. There's 3 in the fridge.
I'm still not convinced.
I can do basic.
Listen, so I've already been
checked
caught
out
red-handed on the whipped cream stealing.
That is true.
Right?
You were caught.
So
innocent? Is that what you're saying?
Well, so when you asked this question, because I didn't know you guys were going to ask this, I had to think twice if I was somebody that
You
stole
gotta
it.
check in with your own brain and go,
I did. I was like,
am I guilty?
Did I
here?"
come up there Friday and maybe make coffee or something? And so now I'm going to be involved in this whole sting operation.
And based on your criminal history, it would have been normal for us to assume you were involved.
Okay, so then I think, like, what about, like, Weber? Weber loves free stuff.
That's right.
Right? Super cheap guy.
It could be.
Is there a height
Likes free
requirement
stuff.
for the fridge or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
I think you can get around.
Problem is, he was out of town all weekend.
Right.
Alibi.
He has an alibi.
Look, here's the deal. If
But don't rule out here Marcel Robinson or Olivia Tassley.
Well, here's the deal. If we catch you and you are not in a situation where you get the free Celsius, like we get it, some of the radio stations get it, some of them don't. If you are a non-free Celsius getter,
What's the penalty?
and we catch you getting our free Celsius, you wouldn't want to be you.
Oh,
All right?
Sounds dangerous.
All right? I can't even say what we're going to do on the air.
Because you don't know.
I haven't figured it out yet.
Sounds like we have some dissension here.
pretty serious.
Glenn wants me to pull out a lie detector. I'm down with this. I will start lie detecting everybody. Just as a normal,
We'll
on
have
a
8
normal
suspects. They'll all be guilty.
You would have thought like thousands of dollars got stolen. Although if you add it up over time,
that's right.
It's a lot of Celsius.
Somebody is thieving.
And we will find out who.
Oh, we'll find them.
Back to football we go. Brent Friends on ESPN 690 when we come back. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Action Sports Jacks. Subscribe, Action Sports Jacks channel on YouTube for everything we do on CBS 47, Fox 30, and ESPN 690. Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
This is Pre-Tection. Yep, Pre-Tection. The everyday skin protection ritual that protects your skin from mosquitoes. Pre-barbecue. Pre-playground. Pre-everything. Pre-every day. Prevention is the best protection. This summer, make sure you have OFF, the #1 dermatologist-recommended repellent brand. SC Johnson, a family company.
Imagine you're looking at a balancing scale, with everything you do for other people on one side, and everything you do for yourself on the other side. If it isn't balanced, maybe it's time to spend a little more time on you. And therapy is a great place to start. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist online who can help you find that balance and stick to it. Visit BetterHelp.com/score to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/score.
Live life to the fullest. You hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain, right? Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martin. QC Kinetics is in the business of giving people back their quality of life and providing much-needed relief from chronic joint pain. And not just providing that relief, but doing it in the most non-invasive way possible using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologics. Where's your joint pain? In your knees, hips, shoulders, or back? Well, QC Kinetics concentrates these impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them most. And best of all, you walk into the office and walk right out after treatment. No surgery, no downtime, and patients are raving about the results. So what does living life to the fullest look like for you? Finally being able to play golf, hike, walk your dog, enjoy time with your family, whatever it is, don't wait one more day. Get started today. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation, 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522. They're in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra, 904-274-5522.
Every weeknight at 6 p.m., it's Overtime with Kurtz in Middleton, and check us out right here on ESPN 690.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This just in. The USGA has announced Tiger Woods has withdrawn from the upcoming U.S. Open. Still no timeline for his return to action from last month's ankle surgery. The Lakers on the brink of elimination host the Nuggets. Game 4 of the NBA's West Finals tonight. 8 Eastern ESPN Radio, 8:30 Eastern ESPN TV. LA, a 3-point favorite at home, virtually has no chance of winning tonight, says First Take host Stephen A. Smith.
The only way that happens is if Denver is more interested in celebrating at home instead of here in L.A. Because it's going to be the Nuggets that determine this. Lakers ain't got no answer for them. They're going to, if they're determined, they're going to close them out tonight. The only way they're going to lose tonight is if they say, you know what, we'd rather celebrate in the Mile High City.
A Nuggets win results in the first sweep in franchise history and marks the first time LeBron James is swept before the NBA Finals. Carmelo Anthony announced his retirement from the NBA after a 19-year career. ESPN's Jameson Hensley reports quarterback Lamar Jackson absent from the start of Ravens OTAs today, but he is expected to report to the team this week.
It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless horizons. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles, made for your next adventure. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! Well, what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom, Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom, Jack! Boom! This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Your guy Brooks Koepka wins the PGA Championship.
Just like I told you, Doug.
It is amazing. You know what I was saying? I don't understand why he wins the PGA Championship so much. It's not like it's the same venue.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
Similar setup.
I guess. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I just think when
guess
you're
it's
good,
a similar
good.
setup. Yeah, but why that one? Like, has anybody done that? Where, like, that's the one they win?
Unconfirmed. I mean, outside of, like, Tiger or somebody, right?
Yeah, but, like, Tiger and Jack won the Masters a lot, right? And then they won a lot of other ones. You know, like Mickelson, he won a couple of Masters. And so, like, I get the horse for course stuff. You know, sometimes your game likes the hard stuff, like the U.S. Open. So guys are very good ball strikers, or maybe it's putting or whatever that favors a U.S. Open. Although that seems to differ, too, because there's so many different venues. The Open Championship, the wind or the rain or that style of golf course, like, you kind of get it. It's just weird to me that he just loves winning the PGA Championship of all things.
No, I just think, like...
Justin Thomas, does he win a couple PGAs, too, now?
He has, yeah. I just think that, especially when you're talking about somebody like Brooks, who, I mean, for lack of a better term, he's disinterested in anything that's not difficult. So you add in the part that it's not only a difficult event to win, but it's a difficult golf course, he just locks in more. So, I mean, even if you look at his other wins, the very few that he has not in majors, he's got World Golf Championships, which are difficult. He has Waste Management, which isn't the easiest. Like, he locks in when he locks in, and that's about it.
I say this, it's a weird thing. Like, where do you feel on the live stuff? I said this last night on TV. I don't think the headline today is live golfer Brooks Koepka wins the PGA Championship. Now, certainly it's mentioned, and I think DeChambeau came out and said something because a couple of guys performed well. Like, I just don't feel like it's a storyline. I said this last week going into it. I think the Masters cleared this storyline to a degree out. Not a great degree. Or, like I also said this to you, Kasey, last week, he's not a flag waver. Like, he's not wearing the shirts. He's got his Nike stuff on. When asked about Greg Norman after the fact, he's like, yeah, like, I think somebody asked, did Greg Norman call you or text you? He's like, I've got like 600 text messages, and I was only interested in talking to my wife.
Right.
Like, it was actually kind of an interesting statement. I'm surprised it didn't blow up more because the way he said it was like, I'm not interested in talking to Greg Norman. That's the way you could have perceived it to be.
Sure.
But I guess that's why this doesn't feel like Liv versus PGA, or maybe because Rory's not talking about it anymore, or again, it's a little feather in the cap of Liv, but I don't think this is going to boost Liv any more than it is right now. I think Liv is what it is. The next phase of this is the Ryder Cup, because now he's like second in the Ryder Cup standings. So that's going to be a constant conversation until we get to that point. I guess that's going to keep Liv versus PGA and all this discussion somewhat in the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, that and whenever you get to the U.S. Open if he's in contention again. But I think that, yeah, I mean, it kind of is what it is. Nobody's really thinking about it. It helps, to your point, that he's wearing Nike and not his team logo, right? If Patrick Reed wins, it's front and center because he's wearing the hat and the shirt. But Brooks is just collecting that Nike money that they never gave up on him. So I don't think it does much for Liv. Again, if I'm Liv, I'm playing this up like crazy. I'm posting something every 5 seconds that a Liv golfer won. I think they're doing a poor job of that. I mean, in the ESPN headline, it did say Liv's Brooks Koepka wins. But I think this is a dream scenario for Brooks. He gets to play very little golf and still gets to play in major championships. He could still, I mean, as healthy, you've seen what he's done in the last two. If he can still play in these majors for the rest of time and he stays on Liv the rest of time, this is going to be a dream career for him, not having to play much real golf and only playing the majors. I think it's a huge, huge bonus for him, and he'll keep winning them if that's the formula.
I just don't think there's something about Koepka, which even before, he was already kind of this polarizing guy. I never loved him, but I didn't not like him. Like, there's something cool about him. Yet he feels almost like a villain, but not. Like, he's just he's outside the norm. And so he's a little bit different. So he's kind of like uncomfortable to root for sometimes, in my opinion. He looks like he doesn't care half the time. He looks like he can be a jerk some of the times. Like, it comes off like that. And again, I'm not even, like, I don't not like him. In fact, I might even make the case that he's like the Liv golfer that I do like. And I think in part he's easy to root for in this capacity, or at least be like, okay, that was kind of cool, because he doesn't wave the flag, as someone who's not a big fan of the Liv Tour, in my opinion, for me. And I also get the feeling, Kasey, that if he had a chance to get out of the contract and come back to the PGA Tour, I think he'd be the first guy to do it.
I feel the same way, but then again, I mean, he gives off that vibe. He gave off that vibe this week.
And at the Masters.
But I don't think he would, because of everything I said. He wouldn't have to play. He doesn't have to play
golf.
golf.
But he doesn't have to play golf. I mean,
you do kind of. Like, you can't just show up 4 times on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Like, you will get in trouble. Like, you can't do it. So he's kind of in a perfect world right now. And we'll see if that changes. But I did get that vibe that, you know, I feel like if he wasn't hurt, he wouldn't. Well, he said that. If he wasn't hurt, he wouldn't have made the decision. And if he could get back, I think he would too. I agree with you. But
why do we feel that way? Why do we both feel that way?
Because he's actually good. Because he doesn't wave the flag, to your point. Like, if you were watching that and you didn't know, you wouldn't know that he's on Liv.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Everybody else you would know, because you'd be like, why are they wearing the stupid shirt?
Even Mickelson, who's like shot 15 over par, still leaves the course taking a jab at the PGA Tour, all that's right. Mm-hmm. He's always got something to say, which is like, just shut up, Phil. Like, if you don't like Liv. I mean, if you're all for Liv, then that's a different story. But like from this vantage point, and I've made no bones about it, I'm not a Liv Tour fan. Like, Phil's like, yeah, whatever, man. Like, it's like a forest in the tree. I mean, a tree falling in the forest. I don't think people are even paying attention to Phil anymore when it comes to it, because he talks so much about it. But Brooks could have really said something, done something these last couple of majors, and he chose not to.
True.
Chose to totally separate himself from it, which I also kind of appreciate, that he's making the tournament out of respect for the tournaments, probably, and the majors. It's like, I want to play in these things forever. I'm not going to go burn a bridge.
Right.
Right? Just he's always been a fascinating athlete and a golfer in this landscape. And now he's even more fascinating to me because of the Liv stuff.
I mean, the one thing that you can't really deny it, well, I guess a lot of them, but like, he's a Hall of Famer now. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, there's only 20 guys that have done what he's done, and he's not done.
No, he's not.
I mean, he is really clutch. I don't know if you were watching all that. I forget what hole. What hole was it that he birdied out of the rough? Was that the one where he birdied 16? Yeah, it was 16. It was 16. While Hovland was making a mess out of 16 and really lost the tournament there. Not only did he could have made bogey out of the rough. Mm-hmm. Anybody can make bogey out of the rough there. And not only did he get it on the green, I'm talking about Brooks Koepka, to make an easy par. No, he knocked it in for birdie.
Right.
So he put the game away. He put it away. He's super clutch. And I actually didn't even think he played that. I thought he was loose with his swing. He didn't even have his best stuff on the back nine. Yeah. And he still was able to get it done.
He didn't need it. He knew he wasn't getting caught. Hovland wasn't ready. He's still not ready for that.
Just not ready. Isn't that, he's a good player. But see,
if he was grouped with Scheffler, I think it would have been a different story.
Really?
Scheffler was on, boy. Tell you what.
Yeah, Scheffler was playing well.
I think Brooks still wins, but...
Oh, you think if Brooks was with Scheffler?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I thought you meant if Hovland was with Scheffler.
No. I think Hovland's just not ready for it. I don't know why, but I think if Scheffler and Brooks were together, it would have been a different story. I still think Brooks wins, but I bet it was not as comfortable.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Scheffler will put the pressure on you, Hovland.
So the other story, obviously, is this Mike Block guy. I mean, what a story. It's really cool.
Crazy.
Really, really cool. That, I can't remember when we've seen something like that in sports. Because the difference with golf is you've got two things happening. And how often are two things happening? You know what two things are usually happening is whoever's winning and where's Tiger on the course.
Yeah.
Well, this is totally different than that.
Well, I don't think we see stuff like this in sports because usually they don't let you play if you're not in the sport. They don't just let us go into Major League Baseball and try to get a hit.
I don't know if there's a comp to it. What you could say is okay, it's like a Cinderella in the March Madness making a run. Well, it is.
Yeah, but they still play the sport.
Well, they do. They not only do they play the sport, Kasey, but they eventually lose and they're not in the championship game. They're not around on the Sunday.
Right.
Right? I mean, this was way more interesting to me than the actual outcome of the golf tournament.
I would say CBS agreed with you there.
By the way, was your music loud on your TV watching it, or is it just my TV?
No, it's pretty loud. I'm just glad people were making fun of you for being old.
No, but I was they totally screwed that up.
They did. It was really loud.
I mean, it was during his interview.
Yeah, you could
They
barely
throw
hear
a
him.
sponsor thing in there, and they jacked the music up. I couldn't even hear the interview.
Yeah, agreed.
And it was another time later on they did the same thing. Come on now. Fix the audio, CBS. I really thought it was maybe. I didn't see a lot of people complaining about it, so I was maybe it's just my TV.
Well, most of the old people aren't on Twitter. They're on Facebook.
That's a good point.
Probably in the wrong
Well, the
group.
cool old people are on Twitter like me.
That's true.
But the Mike Block story was really, you know what else was cool about him? Is that it's almost like he didn't want to be in the spotlight.
No, not at all.
He was so uncomfortable. And the whole in one thing was fantastic because he genuinely had no idea it went in.
Which is crazy.
But everybody else knew it went in. And his quote about Rory McIlroy coming up to him was why is he coming up to me for a shot I hit 10 feet from the pin?
Yeah.
And then they were so stunned that they didn't even know how to react from an emotion standpoint, him and his caddy.
No, how could you?
I just don't think there's another comp to it. You know what the bad part of this story is, though?
It can't get any better.
You can't. So don't, it's almost, he's getting all these sponsor exemptions, which is great for him because, now he gets paid and can make money.
Yeah, if he makes a cut, he's in good shape. He just needs to make one.
But the bad news is they're going to pump this guy up for the next year. And he's going to go to the PGA Championship at Valhalla. And he's going to shoot 90.
Possibly. But
it was a great story. It's so cool. So cool.
It'll be interesting to see what happens this week because this is usually a field that's not great. I haven't dove into it yet. I'm not even sure who's in it and who's jumping in late and whatnot. But he's probably going to be in a featured group, to be honest with you.
What's this? Is this a Colonial?
Charles Schwab, yeah.
Charles Schwab.
It's at Colonial.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's the one thing that we do see play out in sports sometimes, but I don't know if we see it play out to this degree. This had the feel of watching, the Disney movie, The Rookie.
Yeah.
Where the guy comes back and he pitches.
Especially on 18.
And he makes it. And he delivered. He delivered the ending out of that lie on 18. And by the way, he's not even in that position if he doesn't make a hole-in-one. He needed a hole-in-one and a miracle up and down to actually get the top 15. Because let's be honest, he's a great story all week, Kasey, but if he doesn't get top 15, it loses its luster.
Yeah.
Like if he finishes 17th, it's like, I just missed. But he had a great week. Instead, it's like he is the story everywhere today because he finished 15th.
Yeah, he's more of a story than Brooks.
He really is. Well, Brooks is the same old story in a way. This is a new story.
That's fair.
But this is like legit Disney movie unfold.
It is unbelievable.
And that, I guess it does happen in sports, but it doesn't feel like it happens very often.
Glenn says Vince Papale.
Vince Papale,
Friend of the show.
Oh, there you go. I actually thought, and I'm not sure this is a good comparison or not, but the name that came to my mind was Jeremy Lin in Linsanity.
Yeah.
But the difference there is it played out over like what felt like a couple of months. You know?
Yeah. I think it's hard to compare it because it literally was not his job. Like, yes, he does golf for a living.
You're bringing up a good factor there. That's true.
It would be like,
how about it's like the goal, right? It's like the fireman goalie that comes in.
Yes.
Right?
That
happens. Like that actually happens.
That's a good example. The other one I thought of would be like if you, like Frankie Muniz, whatever his name is, the guy from Malcolm in the Middle, he's doing racing now. Like if he won.
Yeah.
Like if you're rich enough you're not a racer, but you buy the team and put yourself in the car.
Yeah.
Like
but even that would feel different, right? Because that's not genuine. It's a little manufactured.
Yeah, but you still don't do it for you. We would still be like, whoa.
Yeah.
This guy just beat professionals. So I think it's very hard.
Yeah, I
to
think,
comp.
but his story here is more like, I think we're onto it a little bit, that hockey, because sometimes you get an emergency goalie situation where they seriously call the guy who was a volunteer firefighter out of the station and he comes and plays in the NHL that night. Like it's happened.
That was wild.
It's happened more than once.
It happened,
but what would be unbelievable, and maybe this has happened, I don't remember it, is that guy now sticking with the team and being awesome.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Like that just doesn't happen. And so, and I shouldn't say sticking with the team for too long because we have no idea if Mike Block has staying power.
Well, to get start number one, actually, because you came in relief.
Yeah. Good point. Great storyline. That was cool. That's a cool storyline. And you know what I like? Because you're not like the sentimental type.
No, I'm not.
But you liked it. Like 45-year-old Brent, 65-year-old golf fan, 25-year-old Kasey, Debbie Downer guy sometimes.
So here's the thing.
Still like the story.
I liked it to a point.
It got a little mushy for you.
And then I was like, all right.
Once you started crying a little bit, you didn't like that. That was an uncomfortable situation for you.
I thought it was. I'm not gonna lie. It was different. But like here's the main problem that I had was like I felt like they made the best effort they could to not show Brooks very much, even though he was winning the golf tournament.
Yeah.
I thought there was some of that there. All of a sudden, we're seeing Scheffler, who's 4 shots back. They're still showing us Corey Connors, who's no longer on the leaderboard. They're showing us Mike Block, the replay 18 times. And I was like, you're only doing this because it's Brooks. And I wondered how that would play itself out. And I think it was clear and obvious that they showed very little of Brooks until they had no choice.
That's a...
I was like, come on,
then
dude.
They showed him for a 2-mile walk at the end.
Well, that's fair. That's
a lot, one
too.
Spot where they could have got off him.
I was like, just break.
That is a long-ass walk. Holy cow.
It was really far.
But that's a good point. See, here, you know why I don't feel that as much?
Why?
I don't give a damn about those live guys. But,
well, yeah,
but CBS in the context that you just gave, you're probably not wrong. Long relationship with PGA Tour, right? As traditional as there is of a network. And Jim Nantz has actually been a guy that will take a zinger or two at these guys, which is totally out of Jim Nantz's character.
Right.
So you might be right that they were like, all right, let's show anything but until we have to.
I felt like Hovland was 2-1 for a very long time, and he was not even in it. And I will say I wasn't, I don't know if impressed the right word, but once it was a foregone conclusion that Brooks was winning, they were very even, complimentary.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Emmelman talking about texting with his coach, like stuff that they kind of went out of their way to do, which I thought was good. Now, granted, is that because it's Brooks and there actually is a story here? He really couldn't walk for a while.
Yeah, they do have something like that to lean on.
If it was Dustin, do they do that? I don't know.
Yeah, again, I think this helps that you can do that with him. Like, not a Live fan, you didn't turn me off by the conversation because I think Brooks isn't a big Live guy.
Right.
Other than cashing the check and the lifestyle of it. So, hey, it was fascinating. Really, really good golf storylines coming out of the PGA Championship. Next up is the U.S. Open. And speaking of golf, by the way, Father's Day around the corner. Action Sports Jack's Dream 18 card. We're about to sell out of them, so still got a few. And a great gift for dad or anybody that you know for any occasion, or for yourself if you love playing golf and you save hundreds of dollars all the way through the rest of this calendar year. So it's still very much worth it. Action Sports Jack's Dream18.com. One other thing, save the date for our Action Sports Jack's Dream 18 golf tournament. We announced last week. It's at the golf club at Southampton once again, and it will be September 18th. That's Monday after the Jags beat Kansas City that we got the Dream 18 golf tournament once again. So September 18th, save the date. We'll have the registration, everything up and running in the next couple of weeks so you can register for the golf tournament. Let's get to South Beach Gary here on a Monday. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. What's happening?
Hey, guys. Kasey, I got to apologize. I'm having somebody smuggle that seltzer out to me, but I confess.
Well, we caught you then. I guess that's why we didn't see nothing on the video.
Yeah. No, but, I've got my contacts. No, but remember, Brent, I told you a year and a half or 2 years ago that Koepka was going to win 10 majors before he was through, and you said, there's no way, he's not going to get to 10. I'm telling you, he's got that mindset where it's the majors. He could care less about another tournament when it wins or lose. In fact, he only has 4 PGA Tour wins other than the majors. He couldn't care. He's got that Nicholas Woods mindset that, and he's already, there's already out there that guys are intimidated by Brooks Koepka. Rory admitted he didn't want to play with Koepka. That's Rory McIlroy admitted he didn't want to play with Koepka. That's something you only heard about from players like Jack and Tiger had. They were halfway defeated before they even stepped up on the tee. And Brooks shows a lot of that.
Yeah, thanks, South Beach Gary. I still would bet against him getting 10, okay? He's not getting 10.
He's 33.
He's 33, which means he's got to get 5 in the next, what do you say, handful of years, or 4, and then maybe win 1 late. But do you think Brooks is a guy that's playing into like his 40s? I doubt it.
No.
He does not. He's going to the beach somewhere, man. Like, he is not that guy. Doesn't look like it to me. And here's the other thing. Can he hold up?
Well, that's
he's been beat up.
So if he plays 7 more years, assuming he can play in all 4 majors every year, because you look at the track record, 17, 18, 19, 20, or 19. 20 was COVID. It was weird.
Yep.
21, he was hurt. 22, he was still hurt in the live stuff. And now in 23, he's second and first. So first of all, it's definitely not off the table that he wins another one this year. But even if he doesn't, 5 and 7 years is doable. 1 a year. If one person on the tour right now is going to win 1 a year, well, he's not on the tour, but you'd say Rahm, you'd say Scheffler, you'd say Brooks. But the thing is, Brooks has done it for longer. Scheffler, he's been hot now, but you could say flash in the pan. I mean, look at Spieth. He's been nowhere to be found since. So you could go that example. And then Rahm, I would put my money on Rahm there, but I mean, he's been extremely consistent outside of the injury.
Yeah, he let's just go with this real quick. Nicholas is 18, obviously. Tiger 15, Walter Hagen 11. It's only 3 guys.
Yeah.
3.
So?
Now, he is kind of in a range of Tiger. I saw somebody tweet today about like his percentages in majors, and it's right around Tiger's percentages, which is very interesting. Gary Player, Ben Hogan 9, Tom Watson 8, Bobby Jones 7, Arnold Palmer, Gene Sarazen, Sam Snead, Harry Vardon.
7's a foregone conclusion, by the way.
I mean, there's only one player outside of Jack since that played like past 1985 that's over 6. Even though we have a great crop of talent. I mean, obviously Rory is stuck. Mickelson got to 6, but he had Tiger in his way. I mean, it's Justin Thomas, Spieth, like you mentioned. I don't know. I'm betting against 10. I'm full on betting against 10. And now 7.
7's a foregoner.
Yeah, 7 I think I would give in on. But 8 I would probably stand firm against 8.
So you want to take 7.5?
I would take the under 7.5.
You're wild. I'll go
You'd
over
definitely
all day.
take over?
Uh-huh. I'm
mean,
assuming that he's going to keep playing.
The good news is for Brooks here, I would bet my house that he wouldn't get to 10, but I've lost a lot of houses on this show before.
You have. And I think there's a point for him who he literally only wants to win these things. If he goofs around and gets to 7 by 35, he's like, all right, I got to do it.
Yeah, he might be motivated by it.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting thing about, like, where did Rahm go? Rahm was
This week, he was bad.
But he was playing great golf coming into the whole major championship season.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got sick at the Players.
He'll compete at the Open.
Yeah, I just felt like he was going to be a guy that was going to get like top 5 in everything this year. And
Looks like that's going to be Brooks outside of the Players.
Yeah, it might be Brooks. All right, we'll be back. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. We break it down hour by hour here on the show. You can listen any time of the day. It's a 24-hour-a-day show, not just 3 to 6, but we are glad when you're along with us. Live 3 to 6 right here on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690.
Keep that umbrella handy. It's a mostly cloudy day today with off and on rain and a few storms. Temperatures struggling to hit 80 degrees this afternoon. It'll be cloudy with some coastal showers tonight, low 69. And the off and on rain continues on Tuesday. It'll be breezy too, high only 80 degrees. Stay dry out there. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Corey Sima.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjax.com.
Right now, American Window Products is offering the newest features in window technology with Ultra Dual Low E glass and insulated vinyl frames with magnet weather stripping on windows for an airtight seal to help reduce your energy usage, all at an affordable price. This exclusive offer is for a limited time, so act now to save big with 12 months zero interest financing. Schedule a free estimate at AmericanWindowProducts.com. American Window Products, the window professionals. Financing at time of sale for new orders only.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
Have you seen your financial freedom wiped out by stock market volatility? It's Rich Jones. Consider investing in real estate funds from DLP Capital. Don Winter is CEO and founder.
DLP Capital has provided our investors with consistent double-digit returns by investing in cash-flowing residential real estate. For more than a decade, we have had zero losses, little volatility, and have shot above our return targets in all of our investment funds. Plus, we offer monthly distributions and tax shelter opportunities.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial **invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
What are you doing on June 3rd, Jacksonville? Come out to the Jacksonville Fairgrounds for Blue Zones Project Jacksonville's kickoff. This community-wide well-being event will feature food trucks, live DJs, performances, health screenings, and so much more. To learn more, follow us on Instagram at BZP Jacksonville or visit us at bluezonesprojectjacksonville.com. That's bluezonesprojectjacksonville.com. We'll see you June 3rd at the fairgrounds from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we kick off our summer of living our very best lives with Blue Zones Project Jacksonville. Be well.
Hey, pet lovers! Forever Vets has a new location just off 295 on Bay Meadows Road. Forever Vets' new central location will offer superior after-hours urgent care for your sick or injured pet. If your pet is suffering from urinary blockage, a laceration, poison, heat stroke, bite, or seizure, our loving veterinarians will be there to provide the immediate treatment your furry friend deserves. Visit our website for hours. And for the times you need a home away from home for your fur baby, Forever Vet's Central Location Pet Resort offers daycare and boarding. Our trained staff provides a happy, safe place for your pooch to play while you're away. Whether they relax in their air-conditioned VIP room or play outdoors in our huge heart-shaped pool, your four-legged baby will be treated like royalty until you return. If you're a new client, the first day of play is on us. Come tour our new facility and see everything Forever Vets has to offer or visit our website at forevervets.com.
Koala Insulation.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation. It's a great time of year to invest in energy-efficient improvements to your home. With our competitive rates and new tax credits for insulation upgrades, you can get huge savings to improve your insulation today and see long-term savings every month going forward.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
Inflation has pushed up the cost of just about everything, which means if you bought life insurance a few years ago, it might not be enough to protect your family today. Now is the time to get the insurance you need at a price you can afford. In a hurry? Don't worry. Call Select Quote now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's right. You can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam in under an hour.
Call Select Quote at 1-800-613-8990. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercial.
Stay with ESPN 690 for your chance to see and hear our special events in the Farah and Farah Performance Studio throughout 2023. Powered by Farah and Farah and ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Brent Friends on ESPN 690 here on a Monday, a rainy one as you head into your drive home, most likely. So be careful out there. Update for the high school baseball playoffs. Columbia lost today 5-2 in the state semis. So no state championships for baseball this season locally. Obviously, we had 4 teams make it down to Fort Myers and some tremendous games and efforts and seasons. So congratulations to everyone. But no state titles, as I say every year. It is hard to win a state championship in baseball in the state of Florida. Meanwhile, softball, University Christian is supposed to play, like right now. They're getting ready to go, I think. I haven't checked the weather out there, so I don't know if they've been delayed. But they're scheduled for a 4:30 start in Claremont in the state Final Four. And then Baldwin will play tomorrow at 1:30. Claremont, yep.
Why? Bro, my friend lives in Claremont.
Congrats. That's a great. Have you ever been to that softball complex over there?
Nah, but I've been to Claremont.
Yeah, Claremont's not a bad place.
Okay.
We've been there quite a bit for softball, so they've built it up a bunch.
They got like an Applebee's.
That's a bunch.
Feeling good in the neighborhood.
Couple of hotels, ice cream shop.
I've been to the ice cream shop.
Got the Home Depot and Walmarts and everything else. It's a real town.
It's a real town.
Barely, though. Like, it's on the fringe.
It is a little bit on the fringe. Not a lot of golf courses, but they've got a couple close by, so that's what I always focus on.
That's how you rate what a real town is.
Yeah.
Weird spot to
Did
do
get
that.
my oil changed once in Claremont.
You and everybody else?
I was up against it.
Oh, good.
It's like one of these.
You were up against it so much you drove to Claremont and then got your oil change.
Yeah, getting your oil change in Claremont sounds like one of these 1980s Michael J. Fox movie premises. And then suddenly you meet like some nice girl in the town and you guys get married and open up a veterinarian
I thought you were going to
hospital.
say you go back to the future or you become a wolf of some sort.
He did many movies.
Did he?
Got a new doc out now, Casey. You want to talk about a Michael J. Fox doc or no?
Is there?
Yes.
Where's it at?
I think it's on Hulu.
I got that.
That'd be a good one to see, actually.
I would watch
It's
the
a good one.
Michael J. Fox. I put that in front of the Thrashers.
It's a mistake on your part.
Yeah, Claremont actually has hills, by the way.
Florida Hills.
Yes.
Wow.
They actually built one of the.
The Applebee's is on a hill. Believe it or not.
The stadium.
No,
there's like a stadium setting. Is it the stadium setting for the softball? Because there's a bunch of fields, but they have a stadium field, and it's built into the hill. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a good spot. So that's where they have the state championships. And I think it's a great spot for the state championships because it's just the opposite of what I was talking about last week, where you go play the state championships at a spring training facility that holds 7,000 to 8,000 people, and it feels like there are 3 people watching.
Mm-hmm.
But in this Claremont Stadium, if that's where you're playing the state championships, it can feel like there's 5,000, even if there's 500.
Because they're all packed in.
Yeah, so you like that a little bit better. So there you go. But good luck to Baldwin and University Christian. We'll keep you updated. In fact, if University Christian wins today, and we'll have 2 teams playing tomorrow, Action Sports Jacks on the TV side, we will be there in Claremont. Not getting our oil change, but going to Applebee's probably.
Will you visit the President's Hall of Fame? That's in Claremont.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah. President's Hall of Fame.
That's Claremont, Florida?
Claremont, Florida.
The one with the hills?
So is Lake Louisa State Park, just in case you were looking for a state park.
Doug Pederson's probably never been to Claremont.
Why would he?
So let's talk about him a little bit.
All they got's Applebee's.
I think the best thing that came out of Doug Pederson today said he doesn't want to be one and done. Brought that up at the top of the show.
Yeah.
I also brought this up to you guys today while listening to Doug and Press Taylor. This is an organization right now that knows exactly what they want and thinks they know exactly what they need. Now, you don't know that part until it shakes out, but they know what they want. Here's what I mean by that.
Yeah, I'd love you to tell me exactly what they want.
Well, we have, let's actually, I'll set this up with some sound. Let's get the Press Taylor sound, not Doug Pederson, Casey, if you can. And it's cut 7 when he's talking about Zay Jones. And think about when he's talking about this, they're going out to find people for their offense last year. Remember, they hadn't even played a game in Jacksonville yet under Doug Pederson.
Right.
And so they're trying to build this offense around Trevor Lawrence. And this is where this kind of hit me. It's like, well, they know what they're looking for in the receivers that they wanted to get. And they probably weren't surprised to see a guy like Zay Jones have a career year. Listen to offense coordinator Press Taylor talk about what they have in Zay Jones.
One of the things we did last season when we went into free agency, readjusting our receiver room, I guess you say, we wanted to add some speed. And when you looked at all the free agents available and you looked at their time speed, the GPS in-game speed, and then the number of times they were able to do that, Zay was, throughout the course of the last 3 years, I think was one of the top 5 guys in the category of receivers we were looking at in terms of how fast he played and how consistently he played that fast. So we knew what Zay was going to bring to us. Plus, he's a smart guy. He's an extremely hard worker. He's diligent. So that adds to the room and the versatility that all those guys bring to us.
You know, and listen, my guess is across the league they try to identify people in different ways. But my point is they knew what they were looking for and what they wanted in Zay Jones. And the GPS stuff's very interesting there because you know if a guy's playing hard every play.
Yeah.
So they know that, like, that helps. That's not a guy taking some plays off. Like, this guy's going to give it his all. They already know he's a good dude. Like, going to be a good teammate, all that stuff. They check all these boxes. But they were looking for speed, they found speed, and they played into what Doug Pederson wanted from the chess pieces on offense. And when I heard that, I was like, man, like that's pretty involved. And again, I think people do this anyway across the league. But I think this group knows exactly what they need, what they want. They went out and got it. And then you know what, guys? That transitions into what they did this year in the draft, where they said, we're not very good. They found this out in the first 8 games of the year. We're not good enough at 3rd and 4th and 1. And it played out all the way and through the draft that they said, we got to get better on 3rd and 4th and 1. So we go get an offensive lineman, a tight end, and a running back that can go get us that 1 or 2 yards in those situations.
Yeah, I love that this wasn't a mystery to them, Case. If you go to Press Taylor Cut 6, he knows exactly what the diagnosis needed to be as it was happening.
Short yardage was certainly something we were not as effective as we wanted to be in certain, whether it's third down or fourth down. We felt like we needed to do a better job of that, and that kind of haunted us a little bit, especially early on in the year when we kind of had that cold streak as an offense. The season ended probably the next day. We all kind of sat down as offensive staff, outlined some things we needed to improve on right then while it was fresh, and then we spent our offseason kind of forging ahead with how to solve these issues, how to give these answers to our players.
So what do you think they've done in the offseason to really try and remedy that? Because I see they formed out their running back room a little bit more to their liking, and Press talked a little bit about that in his press conference. And maybe they like this young kid they picked up in the draft in the tight end room, Brenton Strange. They're saying very nice things about his versatility. But, I mean, outside of Calvin Ridley, like, what is that change? Because it's seemingly, if you believe Cam Robinson is worth the contract that you signed him to last year, you've taken a step backwards on the offensive line with him out.
Okay, but I think it's just the draft showcases this, but I think there's probably more than that. Like Dearness Johnson on special teams and others. Like there's other areas that won't be as glaring that I think they probably got more physical. And I think not even just the short yardage situations. I think they got more physical. Antonio Johnson is what? A physical football player they drafted in the 5th round, right?
For sure.
Abdullah is a guy that, like, he is ripped. Like, he's that guy. Now, listen, you got to be kind of ripped to play in the NFL. But my point is, I think he can play the physical style, even though he doesn't have the traits in terms of the height that position normally comes with. So I think I identified some of these players that play physically. We talked to Brenton Jones a couple weeks ago, and we loved the conversation with him because he's like, I want to go take your lunch, basically, you know, and that's the player they want, and that's the physicality they need. Now, will he play like that in the NFL? We'll find out. Can he play? But the first 3 draft picks from a short yardage situation said, we need to get a yard. We're going to go get a yard. Offensive lineman, tight end who can block and catch, but block too, and Tank Bigsby who can run over you if we need him to. So I think it was crystal clear what they did, and they addressed it in the draft, which also means this coaching staff certainly has a say in the room with their scouting staff. I think this is Doug Pederson and Trent Baalke working well together to identify those needs. And I love that fact of this. So there's a hidden theme around the Jags the last few months, if you listen to us, if you listen to me more specifically, that I think the Jags, with all the attention on Trevor Lawrence and how good he might be, we sleep on the fact that Doug Pederson might be elite good as a coach. Like, I really do. I have to keep reminding people, yeah, it's Trevor, but Doug might be really, really, really good. And I think Press Taylor fits well with him, the staff that he's assembled, the continuity of the staff, and I'm pretty sure of it. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm guessing he said, if you guys are coming here with me, I need 2 years out of you, right? Like, we've got to build this infrastructure around Trevor Lawrence. We can't have you guys jumping at other jobs and stuff like that. And he talked about it today, how he denied interviews in Philadelphia because of that same reason around Carson Wentz. This guy has a plan. He knows what it takes, and he's going to get it. And I think that trickles down on the staff. It trickled down maybe even in the draft this year. And I think the Zay Jones example and the power game that you just referenced, I think are 2 prime examples of a coaching staff that knows what they're missing and how to go get it.
Doug talks a lot about trust with the players, between the players and the staff, and then trust between he and the staff, and blocking guys from taking jobs as part of that trust, bringing them on and trusting that they'll be there to help develop something. Have you ever heard a coach in the NFL talk about trust as much as Doug does?
Probably. I mean, no, because I'm not listening every day, but probably. Like, I think that's a common thread, but the reason why we hear it so much is because it was on the heels of Urban, which they did not trust.
So much distrust,
right?
Yeah.
So for this organization, for this locker room, for these guys, especially the ones that played under Urban, that trust was huge. Building that trust, getting that trust, and we know this. They love him. I brought this up a couple weeks ago. Approval rating of Doug Pederson. It'd be 99.9%. Like, there's nobody outside of a contrarian that thinks Doug Pederson is not good for the Jags.
Yeah, I guess it's one thing for Doug to believe in the importance of trust and to believe in the exercises that build trust and bond guys. But, Case, if you go to cut 8, Doug's talking about whether the players are buying into that whole topic as well.
That's why we have such a high percentage of guys that are here. That goes a long way. That goes a long way, not only just this time of the year, but you get into December and January as we talk, and that's where the trust and sort of that camaraderie come into play, but we're building that foundation.
You know, when I hear him talk about trust, I don't just think about, hey, Foye Oluwakin, are you worried that Devin Lloyd is going to miss this assignment or not? I think about Mahomes and Kelsey.
Yeah.
I think about Kelsey over the middle, communicating with Mahomes, no words, just eyeballs, through a helmet, maybe even a visor. And these guys are on the same page.
Well, this is going to help them transition into what I brought up earlier in the show is can they play well being the hunted? Can they handle that spot? And here's what plays well is Doug's been in these situations before, Kansas City or Philadelphia, and I think you can make the case, okay, did that Philly team handle it? Did he learn something from where the Philly team, after the Super Bowl, started to go, not downhill, but certainly didn't maintain the level? And my guess is he probably learned a thing or two, but he's also been through the ups and downs of the league for a long, long time. And he's got the trust factor of this football team, so much so that I've joked about this. He can tell you that, going to Publix today for today's OTA will help us better, and they'd believe him.
Right.
Like, I think that's where he's at with his football team. I think they do trust him to that point where the Lombardi helps, but what he did last year helped, and we saw it happen. They believed him. When he said after that Kansas City game, and I joked about it and almost laughed about it, that Christian Kirk repeated it, said, hey, we're not mathematically out. We still got a chance. They actually believed it. Nobody else did. Why would you? But they did. And they bought into him so much, and that hasn't wavered. Like, why would that waver?
Yeah.
So now where does it go, and can you keep doing that? And does this group build off that? I think the next phase of this football team, is to take complete ownership of what's going on. Because I think that's what a coach wants, essentially. Like, Doug, remember how many times last year he said, Doug, you got to help him get a win. Like, go kick the field goal against the Raiders instead of go for it. Earlier in the year, he would have went for it. He helped them get a win by kicking the field goal. Only one of them went through, but eventually it worked out. So I think there comes a time where now he can give the ownership of this team and franchise to the players in it. And he might already do that a bit, but I still think they're leaning on him. It's still a young enough team that hasn't done enough in the NFL they still want his expertise. They still want to hear his, rather than, okay, this is my team, Trevor. Sooner or later, it's going to be Trevor's team.
Yeah. Might happen this season.
And it might. But that's going to be an interesting transformation to watch. And I think it's underway here in Jacksonville. I'll continue to say it. I think Doug's elite. I think he's really good. I think he's got a really good staff. Doesn't mean everybody's going to be a head coach someday. But I think this staff works really well together. And there's a lot of trust in that building, not just from players, but from coaches and everybody. People selling tickets and everything else at Jags headquarters. We'll be back on Brent Friends.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. We'll have 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000. All you have to do is enter the correct keyword at ESPN690.com to be eligible to win. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply. ESPN 690 pays your bills. Sponsored by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Weekdays at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 2, and 5 p.m. Tune in to win from ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Dig Local believes community gardens, farmers markets, and nutrition education are sustainable routes to a future where everyone can eat better. Shop the Beaches Green Market this and every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Penman Park on Penman Road, just north of Beach Boulevard, for fresh local fruits and vegetables, plants, meats, eggs, baked goods, honey, wellness products, ready-to-eat snacks and drinks, and local artist craft goods. If you have an EBT card, stock up on free fruits and vegetables and edible plants. Go to diglocal.org to learn more.
This is a busy time of year for families, especially if you have teenagers, kids getting their license, kids going off to college, and someone probably needs a new car. And that's why you go to Nimnick Buick GMC, #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Looking for the perfect truck or SUV? Nimnick Buick GMC has more models on the ground than they've had in over 2 years. Looking for a used car under $18,000? Nimnick has a great selection of over 300 used cars, trucks, and SUVs to choose from. Visit the showroom off Phillips Highway or shop NimnickBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
On average, an artificial limb for a child starts at $5,000, and the first prosthetic for an adult can cost up to $50,000, making it nearly impossible for disabled children or veterans to afford the limb they need. At Life Giving Limbs, we cover the cost of these prosthetics, giving recipients a chance at receiving a new limb and a new start on life. Please help by donating now. Visit lifegivinglimbs.com or call 469-601-8523.
Jump in the iCryo chat chamber on Brent Friends daily on ESPN 690. Agree with Kasey. Disagree with me. Give Aaron a hard time about the Jets. Be a part of the iCryo chat chamber and check out iCryo in St. Johns County and at iCryo.com.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, get a DeWalt cordless impact driver for just $99. Was $159. That's a savings of $60. Plus, you'll always save big on job lot quantities when buying select building supplies in bulk. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See associate for details. Valid through 8/2. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everyday.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690. Let's finish up some more of this Jags coaching staff conversation. It's fascinating to me with Doug, but almost the entire staff. And I texted you guys this morning when I was listening to the news conferences. And first Doug and then Press Taylor. And Press Taylor's very impressive. He's going to be a head coach someday. Absolutely will be a head coach someday, in my opinion. Very articulate. And so the other thing that hit me is Doug Pederson and his staff, I'll include them all, I think are very good at communicating the message, communicating. So I already started this 10 minutes ago, if you're just jumping in with, I think they know what they need and know what they want, and they go get it. Zay Jones was an example in the soundbite that we played from Press Taylor. The power game and short yardage situations, something they identified last year, even during the season, came out of the season identifying it, went and got it in the draft and maybe even a little bit in free agency, but mostly the draft. Yeah. That will help them in that category. And they think, you know what, if we get this, now we're really good, right? And I'm not telling you that's the last step, but that was one thing they thought they needed. The next part of that is they communicate that well with each other, filters down to the team. And I think the message is very much the same. Now, football coaches carry a message that often is repeated by the players. Like, that's happened for decades and decades and always will. But you said something interesting listening to Press Taylor yourself. Like, this is a Doug message that does get repeated, and everyone is on the same page. There's no wishy-washy here at all.
It doesn't seem like much deviation is happening. Whatever Doug is saying, you could count on hearing Press say it either later in the day or a day later when he's doing his press conference, and it's been extremely consistent, at least in the time that I've been watching him do press conferences over the last season. So,
communication's a funny thing, right? It's a hard thing. And I just get the feel, and I don't know this because I'm not in the building every day. It's just an outside observation that they're really good at it, and Doug's really good at it. But I think it goes back to knowing what you want. If you know what you want, if you know you know what it takes, it's like they've got the recipe. Like, don't you feel listening to Doug and watching Doug, like, the recipe they have? Now it's about going to get the ingredients and also sharing with the players what the recipe is. And I think they're really good at doing that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would feel like they've got what they think the ingredients are. Now it's just about learning how to cook.
Well, yeah, but the learning how to cook part is from the players.
Yeah.
Right? I think the teaching how to cook, these guys are pretty good at.
Oh, yeah. It seems that way, right? It seems that way. They are extremely consistent. You feel like they've got a vision.
Yeah. Great word, by the way, consistent. Another thing, Urban wasn't. So you talk trust, consistency. That's easy to buy into. It's easy to follow.
Yeah, well, you've got someone laying it out for you, sure.
And good communicators, it's easy to understand what you're trying to follow. Again, I think that's all there. Maybe it's a bit hyperbole for me. And again, this isn't just coming off today's news conference. This is stuff that's been building. We've watched this. You know, we had to get to know Doug and this staff and other things. We've watched it unfold. We watched it play out. We watched it work a little bit. And now we're seeing the next installment of it.
Yeah, I think you can tell. And it's not just about Press being on the same message. You hear Trevor with the same message. You hear Foye parroting the same message. Guys like Josh Allen saying the things that Doug and Caldwell are saying that week. I mean, these guys understand one vision, one direction, everyone moving forward.
And that has not been an easy thing around here.
Mm-mm.
It's been disjointed in a lot of ways.
Yeah, man.
Not only like this crazy negative all the time, it's just that sometimes it can get disjointed.
Yep.
Think about your own workplace. Sometimes the message gets disjointed.
Often.
When it's really cooking, that communication probably pretty good and everybody knows which direction they're pulling in. It's fun right now in Jacksonville. And I think that matters in an NFL room more than anything else because you have 53 guys from all walks of life you're trying to bring together for the same mission. I think Doug's doing a fantastic job of it. Football at 5 coming up next. Brent Friends on ESPN 690.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
True House, a leader in the structural building component industry for over 35 years, is hiring full-time truss builders in Jacksonville and Crescent City. Benefits include 401k plan, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, and professional growth. Great starting pay for experienced construction pros, plus production incentives allowing you to earn up to $2 more per hour in your weekly paycheck. Most employees work Monday through Thursday, giving you more time with your family on the weekends. Apply for the full-time truss builder position at truehouse.com/careers.
Got my beach towel? Check. My beach chair? Check. And I'm in luck because the Summer Starts Here sales event is going on now at Arlington Toyota. Now's the time to get hot deals on even hotter Toyotas. Even better, Arlington's got over 300 new Toyotas available. And with every new Toyota purchase at Arlington, you get Arlington's lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. I think this is going to be your best summer yet. Shop the Summer Starts Here sales event at Arlington Toyota today. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Live life to the fullest. You hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain, right? Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martin. QC Kinetics is in the business of giving people back their quality of life and providing much-needed relief from chronic joint pain. And not just providing that relief, but doing it in the most non-invasive way possible using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologics. Where's your joint pain? In your knees, hips, shoulders, or back? Well, QC Kinetics concentrates these impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them most. And best of all, you walk into the office and walk right out after treatment. No surgery, no downtime, and patients are raving about the results. So what does living life to the fullest look like for you? Finally being able to play golf, hike, walk your dog, enjoy time with your family, whatever it is, don't wait one more day. Get started today. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation, 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522. They're in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra, 904-274-5522.
Rich Jones here. Investing can be more about just filling a bank account. It's about having a secure retirement, protecting your family. Let DLP Capital help you to protect your why. Here's CEO and founder Don Wenner.
I started DLP Capital with an expectation that I could provide my family, my investors, my team members, and the families of my investors with awesome returns, limited volatility, and no losses, all while providing desperately needed affordable housing to the American workforce.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial star invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Only one option for LeBron James and the Lakers tonight, win or go home. They're trailing 3-0. Host Denver, Game 4, NBA's Western Conference Finals. LA wins and denies the Nuggets their first ever playoff series sweep, predicts ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
He's not getting swept. This game is going to 5, okay? The Lakers will win tonight. They will win Game 4. LeBron James have too much damn pride to go out and get swept in the conference finals. AD is going to come back with it on his mind.
LA is a 3-point favorite to win tonight. Game 4, 8 Eastern ESPN Radio, 8:30 Eastern ESPN TV. Bucks narrowed their head coaching search, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Plan to meet with former Raptors coach Nick Nurse, Warriors associate head coach Kenny Atkinson, and Toronto assistant Adrian Griffin this week. Tiger Woods withdrew from next month's U.S. Open. Still no timetable for his return to action from last month's ankle surgery. NFL owners today approved a rule allowing teams to designate an extra roster spot for an emergency third quarterback on game day.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Now, your chance to win $1,000 as ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. Sponsored by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
Enter the word HOPE at ESPN690.com. That's HOPE by 15 past the hour.
Your next chance to win $1,000 and have ESPN 690 pay your bills happens tomorrow morning at 8. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! But what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Yeah! Boom! This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Almost time to steal more whipped cream.
I like that you pretty much give them the signal. You're like, hey guys, look at me. I'm coming.
Make sure you hide it. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz. Hey, everybody, on a Monday. Brent and Friends, football at 5. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton on deck. And then on double deck, in the hole, That'd be no gate fees. 7 o'clock.
Say, what's
on
coming up
ESPN
after
690.
overtime? Oh, yeah, your show.
Last one.
That's right.
Last
season
show.
series finale. Wow.
We got big top. You know, we started the show this year with Do High School Sports Still Matter?
Right.
And ironically, tonight.
We still don't know.
We still don't know. And they're trying to make it not matter, it feels like.
Interesting.
So I'm still trying to digest. Like, there's new legislation out about a bunch of different topics. It's very muddy. And we're going to talk a little bit about it today, but it goes back to public-private school stuff, charter school stuff, ability to transfer. Let me just give you one quick example.
Okay.
Of it. We think we have this part right. With this new legislation, you can start the year at, I'm going to throw out schools here, okay? Nobody's like, I'm not trying to hammer anybody. I'm just saying
hypotheticals.
Hypothetical school, because you know they exist. So you start the year playing football at Reigns.
Oh, Reigns going to get so mad at you right now.
You go play basketball and transfer over to Mandarin to do that.
Okay.
And then you go play baseball at Atlantic Coast.
3 different schools, 3 different sports.
3 different sports.
Where do you actually go to school?
Oh, there's no learning taking
Well, you'll
place.
transfer to all those.
They are schools
at the right time.
So you have to go to all 3 schools?
Yeah, you have to eventually go to those.
Yeah,
even if you're homeschooled?
Now, homeschool is a different animal. Used to be you have to go like where you're zoned to go. Now you can, at least the way we understand it, go anywhere.
You're a transfer portal
Public
recruit.
School, private school, charter school, anywhere.
Large uptick in homeschooling coming soon.
Well, is that what they're trying to get to? I think is a fair question, right? I mean, that gives you a lot of flexibility. Then there's, used to be if you didn't have a sport that your school played, you would go to the neighboring school or something as close as you could to play that sport. You could actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can go anywhere to play that sport.
It's interesting.
So
you could have a rise of educational collectives whose job it is to homeschool these athletes who are specifically homeschooling so they can go to whatever school they want to go to.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Really? You think that could happen?
I got a new business plan.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, again, and we'll talk about it tonight, but I've tried to identify a lot today. First of all, it's very muddy. There's this because there are things that already were happening and in place, and these are just a little tweaks to it.
Now, you are famously apolitical. This isn't going to get political tonight, is it?
Well, the problem is, in this context, is politics is the politicians are getting, not politics, well, maybe politics, because I don't even know who wants what, but definitely politicians, because it's legislation, has impacted these decisions. This is not, like, I'll hammer the FHSAA anytime you get a chance to for some of the silly things that happen, but this isn't them. This is coming from Tallahassee.
Weird.
Is it really weird?
It sounds weird.
Some politician kid probably couldn't play baseball somewhere and said, let's make a new rule.
Yeah, but
isn't that how this stuff works?
Back in the old days, they would just find a voucher or something hidden under some folder. Now you're going to make a whole rule that affects everybody.
I think some of this is so you don't have to police everything. It is kind of the wild, wild west with some restrictions. And I would say this. The other part of it is I'm trying to find the good. Like, there's got to be some positives here. There's got to be some situations where this really benefits kids in certain situations, I would think.
Because I'll tell you,
the negative jumps out at you.
Well, the
really
other side of it, I'm looking at it going, well, you've already got this NIL landscape that I kind of have said I love, where players can be free agents and go to whatever school they choose to. But that's college. You've always been able to go to whatever college you wanted to. But if there's so much money in the NIL business side of it, then how is that not going to leak down into high school kids getting recruited to go to these educational collectives, to go to these other prep schools, to then graduate to some NIL collective in college?
Yeah, I mean, it is basically what you're seeing at the collegiate level is probably was already happening to some degree at the high school level, but is now opening the door for more. And the more you do this, the more loopholes you have and everything else. I kind of likened it to today because it was a good example of this. Like, if you're a charter school and they only have basketball, okay, well, so then you can go play baseball somewhere else, or they might not have the full complement of sports. But isn't that a little bit like if I want to play baseball and football and I go to a school that doesn't have it, me going to like Clemson and wanting to major in something they don't have?
That's literally exactly like that.
Like, so now I'm going to go to Clemson, but I'm going to take courses somewhere else?
Yeah, West Virginia.
Because they've got the major?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Well, why would you do it?
You wouldn't.
Just don't go to the school then.
Right.
Or go to a school that does offer it.
But the rules don't apply the same.
It's weird. Like, that's what I don't get out of it. And so anyway, full circle on no gate fees tonight. And we'll have more of this conversation, the iCryo chat chamber. Fill it up, baby, because this is an interesting topic. And then, of course, we'll update everybody on high school baseball and softball, final power polls. Got some great updates on committed to the uncommitted, which can't wait to tell you about there as well. And we'll have an upcoming scholarship with that program to hand out this summer on the baseball and softball side. So appreciate everybody jumping in all season long on the first year of no gate fees on ESPN 690. Brent Martin, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz. Jags OTAs today. Big story really is just seeing these guys out on the field, including Calvin Ridley wearing that number 0. Listen, this is exciting. When Trevor Lawrence got drafted, seeing him out on the field is exciting. The Jags spent a ton of money last year in free agency. I'm talking to last year, not this past one.
Right.
Calvin Ridley is as interesting and intriguing and exciting of an acquisition the Jaguars have had in their time. I mean, I'm not saying he's more exciting than obviously Trevor Lawrence or some of the free agents that have come on board. But to put Calvin Ridley on a team that just went to the playoffs, overachieved, looks like it's on the rise, with a quarterback that might be knocking on the door of being one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, with Doug Pederson, who's won a Lombardi trophy, this is good stuff now to see Calvin Ridley a part of this.
You think Calvin Ridley is the biggest free agent acquisition? I know it came in I guess it was a trade, but essentially the biggest acquisition the team's ever made in terms of stature?
I would say no, but I'm just saying no because it's probably got to be something else.
I don't think it's anyone I can think of on offense.
Well, but you're saying this in the context. I mean, listen, Trevor Lawrence immediately comes to mind.
Not as a draft pick. I'm talking free agent or trade.
Okay.
Someone you acquire that you're not growing from college.
Calais.
Bigger than Ridley?
It turned out to be that way, Kasey, but he wasn't as ballyhooed coming in as Ridley.
Okay, I'm just giving options.
No. And he would be
I'm
it.
not denying
Honestly, I can't think of another one bigger.
Julius Thomas.
We've had players that were bigger, but they were drafted here and then left. Anyway.
I wonder how people feel about, again, we've had some big-time flops in free agency and not really trade. I mean, listen, Marcel Darius turned out to be a heck of and he was a proven player. I mean, he had a great resume. It's a $100 million guy that they brought on. So, that was a massive trade. But in today's sexy NFL, Marcel Darius, with all due respect, Marcel, is not Calvin Ridley. Guy can go up and get it, catch touchdown passes, fill up your fantasy team, and now you couple him with Doug and Trevor, and that adds a new dimension.
Reggie Hayward was a big name at the time, but maybe not as big to the offense as Calvin Ridley is expected to be.
Yeah, the thing that you bring up is the resume on Ridley. And you're going to bring this up in tweets, and maybe we should get to it right now. But this guy's highly respected. He might be top 5 in the NFL if he returns to form.
I guess that depends who you ask.
But is that hyperbole?
No, I don't think it is.
And here's the other part about Ridley. There's a few things. I just said it kind of leading up to it. One, he goes with Trevor, with Doug, with this offense, with a team that looks like it's on the rise, that is expected to win the AFC South, expected to contend. So he joins them. So that's one element. He's not coming here hoping to flip the franchise like Trevor and other free agents were. No, he is joining a team that already looks good.
But he is a guy expected to help them take the next step.
That's true.
That's on his shoulders, yeah.
So, and he also, again, comes with a resume that he was mentioned in the breath of great wide receivers in the game before missing all this time. That's a fact. So that brings a lot to the table for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and in the context you're bringing it, which is Calvin Ridley, the biggest trade or free agent acquisition. Oh, I got one more element of that. It felt almost sneaky the way the Jags got it.
It wasn't almost. It was very sneaky. Nobody was thinking
brilliant.
Calvin Ridley.
Sneaky and brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
All within the rules. So sneaky sounds like you're breaking the rules.
That's fair. But like I thought about it when it happened. I thought of it like, you remember? Oh, maybe you don't remember, Brent, but Steve Jobs, when he used to do these Apple events every year, the year he introduced the iPhone, and then every year after that, he'd always have a little nugget at the end where he'd be walking and he'd go, but there's one more thing. And that's what the Ridley move felt like. It was like, oh, we got a big surprise to break to you guys. Back to the most important acquisitions, though. Same position, Keenan McCardle. So maybe he didn't come with you use the word ballyhoo, the celebration that a Calvin Ridley comes with a wide receiver 1. But he did put in 4 1,000-plus yard seasons.
So he's in the Calais conversation. Because, again, I don't think people were thinking that way
no, not based
when
on those
Keenan
numbers.
came.
No.
And again, that's a hard thing for me to sit here and say because I wasn't here at the time. But
you couldn't. I mean, his career high was 709 yards before he got here, and he hadn't had over 300 before that.
Any other names? Did you have a list of names?
I had a little list. Yeah, Keenan McCardle is up there. Mike Pederson, linebacker, another good one.
Okay.
Hard to measure, but he was a team leader, all-pro.
Again, worked out great. He's a great dude, too. But
obviously, Searcy was a big name here. But I just don't know if the expectation that Ridley has on him is what was expected of Searcy or ultimately what played out in that sense.
Yeah, I think. Well, give us what Devontae Adams said. We'll get to tweets here and what Devontae Adams said about him. If I can skip to that one.
Yeah, sure, of course. So Devontae was on a podcast, the I Am Athlete pod, and the question was asked of him: top 5 wide receivers according to Devontae Adams. Well, apparently Devontae didn't spend too much time in counting class. He gave 7 of them, but. That being said,
he's too busy counting his $28 million a year.
Yeah, it takes a long time to count that high, so you'll forgive him being distracted. He did list Calvin Ridley, not just in his top 7 that was supposed to be a top 5 list that included a 2A, 2B, and a 5A, 5B, but Ridley is technically officially in Devontae Adams' top 5 anyway. He's got himself at number 1. Shout out to Devontae Adams, not forgetting about number 1. He's got Justin Jefferson at 2A. He's got Tyreek Hill at 2B. He's got Stephon Diggs at 3. And then here comes C. Rid, number 4. Followed up by Mike Evans at 5A and CeeDee Lamb at 5B.
You know, it's interesting that give me the top 3. Stephon Diggs was 3.
It's Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and Stephon Diggs is your top 3.
But what's interesting about Diggs and also Ridley is they're known as this is what's appreciated in, I think, the profession, known as great route runners, right? And technicians.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and by the way, the Jags already have another one of those guys in Christian Kirk. I think he's known for a lot of those things, too.
Oh, yeah.
Just maybe not to the level that Devontae Adams or others think, but very well respected in that regard. So that's the beauty. Ridley's got all these physical attributes, but he's also got the technical attributes. And I think when he was acquired in the trade, a lot of people were comparing him to Stephon Diggs, saying those two are probably the best route runner guys in the National Football League.
It's a nice person
if
to
I
be
remember
compared
correctly. So yeah, that's high praise. And I'm a big believer in, now listen, everybody's got their favorites, but I also think when people put you on that already do the job and know the job, like if Jerry Rice were to make the list or DeAndre Hopkins would make the list, like I give some credence to that because I always say, they know what's good is.
Oh, yeah.
Like we know what good is from our fantasy football team, we think, or stats. They know actually what good is.
This guy goes out and does it at an all-pro level every year.
So, I mean, it's a big deal. And he's on the field today, and that's a big deal. Like, it's okay to say it's a big deal. They have Calvin Ridley. And for 6 months, we've kind of waited for these kind of moments. Now we'll have to wait another 4 months to figure out how well it really works. But to see this out there, I think it's really one of the big storylines today to go along with everybody being out there. That was the other part of today is that you recognize everybody. Outside of the draft picks, who we just also saw on the field because of the rookie minicamp, I mean, this is the same football team.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen in pro sports that much.
Or here, period.
And you get the same. I guess the NBA kind of has a little feel of that, where you'll get a lot of the same guys back because it's such short rosters.
Mm-hmm.
But Major League Baseball, there's always, I got to believe there's 35% turnover.
Wow.
I don't know what the NFL roster is, but it feels like it's got to be about the same.
Yeah.
What did this team have, like 8% turnover, it felt like? Like nothing.
It seemed very small. Kasey, you feel like A.J. Brown should have been left off that list? Jamar Chase?
Jamar Chase.
Cooper Kupp? 2,000-yard Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, Cooper Kupp's unfortunately forgettable because he was hurt. But, I mean...
Guy almost broke Megatron's record.
Yeah, I mean, I would have him on there. I'm just saying. You could forget about him because he didn't play. I think Jamar Chase not being on there is a bit reckless.
Over CeeDee Lamb?
Over Mike Evans.
I'm just saying there are such good talent.
There's a lot of good talent.
Such good talent.
And so to see him put in that breath.
Yes. And not even on the fringe. He was securely in the top 5.
Okay, so I'll take
7 players.
He was in the top 5 too, though.
I know. I'm just.
He was in 4th. He was in his 2nd, 4th place. I forget.
I'll continue to say this. We talk about it. I just said it again today in the last hour on Doug Pederson. I think every Sunday you go in, you feel like you've got a better coach, or you got a coach that can go toe to toe with the other guy, even if he's good. I think quarterback. You think you've got the better quarterback on a lot of Sundays, and now Sunday nights and Mondays and Thursdays, by the way. And even when you don't have the best guy, because Mahomes or Josh Allen or maybe even a Burrow have a better resume, you'll take your guy. I think Ridley is like this. I think Ridley has a chance to be like this. Again, I know we have to see some unfold, and I know we got to be a little careful to get way too ahead. But the bottom line is, if the Ridley that they feel like they're trading for is that guy, you might have the best receiver on the field every Sunday.
That's amazing.
Every Sunday. So you start adding that kind of stuff up, right? I mean,
best coach, best quarterback, best receiver sometimes.
Yeah, and listen, and you like a lot of the other stuff. Even if you can't say best, you like a lot.
Sure.
From Kirk to Ingram,
Campbell,
to ETN,
Cisco,
to Campbell, to the best tackler in the game the last 3 years.
Sure.
Right? That's good stuff. Like, that's why this isn't just, hey, hope the Jags are good. Like, that's right in front of you. That where you can actually say at positions, I've got the better guy on Sunday. Now I've got to play better and win the football game.
Yeah.
Where else you taking us?
Let's go to Albert Bildebrier. This news actually just broke a couple of hours before we started the show.
Did you take that from Chris Berman?
I did not.
Because that would be a good one.
All right. Well, I just thought of it, so I appreciate the compliment. Albert Breer says the sale of a minority share of the Raiders to ex-Patriots and Bucs quarterback Tom Brady has been agreed to and submitted to the NFL for approval. Won't be done at spring meeting, but the ball's rolling on it. Brady's already in business with the Vegas owner Mark Davis, with the WNBA Aces. I put this in tweets because I was curious how you guys feel about this. We talk a lot about recruiting players to play for your team. That's something the Raiders need a little bit of help with right now. Do you think Tom Brady does this at all as a minority owner? You know, when the Nets had Jay-Z, that was around the time LeBron was a free agent looking for a new team. They lost out to the Lakers, but they didn't lose out when it came time for Kyrie and Durant to join the team, with Jay-Z doing a lot of that recruitment work. Will Tom Brady be out here recruiting guys to come through to Vegas?
Maybe, but I would say I'm not sure it works. Jeter was a part owner in Miami. They instead got rid of all their superstars.
That's true.
Michael Jordan in Charlotte for a long time. Did you see a bunch of guys going to Charlotte?
Did not.
So I don't think it works like that. I think what's fascinating to me when you mention being, what do they say, 20% minority owner? Is that what it is?
I didn't even see the percentage.
Oh, okay. So, but minority owner, that'd be a lot, by the way, if it's 20%.
Yeah, 20% is not very minority at all.
But I think the fascinating part is twofold for me. The Raiders organization is weird and not always positive from a perception standpoint. Mark Davis seems kind of like a weird cat.
Yes.
Right? But so Brady teaming up with Mark Davis and the Raiders seems odd to me. But then I go back to thinking about what they do for former players and everything else, and I think Davis and that Raiders organization has a better reputation than maybe we have of a perception. They do like this big thing at Napa Valley, like every training camp that like former players rave about. Like, didn't matter, I think, if you played for them for a day or for a decade.
You're going to Napa.
You're going, like we talk about Detroit Lions do a good job of this. We were just talking recently with Brian Davis about Doug Pederson's doing a better job of that stuff. The Jags are doing a better building those relationships, keeping those relationships. You're a part of it if you played for us.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's more to it. But like at face value, I'm like, why is Tom Brady hooking up Mark Davis, like of all people? Why doesn't he just go get 1% of the Patriots with Robert Kraft? Like,
which he would get it, yeah.
You know? So, but maybe there's more to it, like more to that. The other part of this is these guys have so much money now that they can do this.
Yeah.
Like, it just hits me. We know this. Like, this isn't breaking news. But it just reminds you that these guys, all these athletes, seemingly own a sports entity, right? Mahomes is part of what was it, the minor league baseball or something in Kansas City?
Yep.
It seems like everybody's got like part of a soccer team.
I was just reading former NBA Chicago Bulls star Luol Deng has like
really?
$250 million empire of things he owns.
So
That's because he got that big contract, and never played.
He really
My man
did.
is so rich.
And I don't know how much it is for the Aces, like the WNBA, but like,
Can't be a lot.
like Brady has that, but he's also doing like the pickleball stuff. Like these guys are businessmen.
I do think it's
and
fascinating.
the dollars they made in this sport and in sports today allow them to be businessmen.
Yeah. I think it says something, and maybe it doesn't, but I think it does, that Brady, instead of going with the Patriots like you said, or even the Dolphins who were hot to trot on him, he ends up with Vegas.
He might have done that out of respect to Belichick, too, though. Like, does he want to be an owner with Belichick? You know what I mean? Is that a weird look?
I don't think it would, especially if you're a minority owner. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
It's possible.
My guess is that. But I don't know. Why the Raiders? I don't know.
Yeah, Vegas. Unless obviously they have a relationship with the Aces, but is the relationship that good?
Yeah. Let's get to the line right now. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Always welcome to call 904-362-9901. Daniel's on the line. What's up, man?
How's it going, guys? Long time no talk.
I know.
What's up, Daddy?
So, hey, been wanting to call about Calvin Ridley, and everybody in the world keeps talking about him being the number one receiver. And exactly what does number one receiver mean on a Doug Pederson team? Because in every interview I've ever heard Doug mention or someone ask him about number one receiver, he's always said he doesn't believe in having a number one receiver. And so I went back and I was looking over his numbers. Only one time before last year did anybody ever have more than 1,000 yards in a season. The most that anybody ever had was 824. And you had a bunch of different guys that all had 700, 500, and then several at 2 and 300. And so this whole concept that everybody keeps talking about with having Calvin Ridley being a 1,400-yard guy and stuff like that, that would be fantastic, but that's not Doug's game. And it works when he's got the guy out there, everybody's scared of him, so he throws it to everybody else, And so what do y'all think about the concept of not actually having a number one receiver, and having it spread out between, when looking down through here, on an average year, he has 12 different receivers that are getting multiple targets, so.
All right, thanks, Daniel. Appreciate the call, man. It's a good point, and it's a good point in reference to Doug Pederson. But I'll also give you another stat that before last year, when Travis Etienne got over 1,000 yards, he had never had a 1,000-yard rusher. This is also a coach that coached 5 years as a head coach.
And for each of those,
it's not like he's been coaching 20 years. And the league continues to change toward offense, right?
Yeah. And during his tenure with the Eagles, while he didn't really have a superior wide receiver, I think Deshaun Jackson is basically as close as he came. Zach Ertz was the possession receiver guy. Target count for Zach Ertz during the years Doug Pederson was there, 853, 816, 824. I'm sorry. That's
yards.
That's yards, not targets. That'd be a lot of targets, right? 112.
arm fell off. No wonder why he's no good in Jacksonville.
112, 106, 110, 156, 135.
Wow.
I mean, that's wide receiver one targets.
Well, and he helped kind of change a little bit of that thinking, right? He changed a couple of ways of not completely give him the tight end change, but he certainly accentuated the tight end in his offense, which has now become a big thing across the league and was kind of in step doing so anyway, probably with Andy Reid and others and just the talent that was at the tight end position. But we think tight ends, we think Doug Pederson. We think gambling, being aggressive, going for it. And I don't mean gambling in the sense of gambling on sports. I'm saying gambling on plays or being aggressive on plays. And we think Doug Pederson. He certainly changed the mindset. In fact, a lot of people have given him credit for all the 4th and 1s and what you're going for instead of kicking field goals throughout the years and changing the mindset of a lot of people since he did that and won the Super Bowl in the NFL.
I just think your point matters a lot. It's only been 5 years, and during those 5, the wide receivers this man had in the wide receiver room the year he was fired, it's almost criminal that he lost his job this year. Hakeem Butler, Deontay Burnett, Alshon Jeffrey played 2 games that season, Quez Watkins, and Travis Fulgham, who was his receptions and yards leader that year. That was an ugly, ugly group for him to get saddled with based on injury and all kinds of stuff. I mean, Doug uses those pass catchers. They just hadn't been wide receivers previously.
One more thing for Daniel's point here, too. I don't care what you've been or what you can do with and what your trend says. Every coach will take Calvin Ridley.
Oh, yeah.
And the number one guy brings attention, which frees up all the other ones. So, and Doug didn't put 1,400 yards on Calvin Ridley's table. Calvin put 1,400 yards on his table, and everybody's running with it.
Well, Calvin
I don't think
believes
Doug
it.
cares if he gets 1,400 yards. Doug cares if they score 30 a game.
Get 12 wins.
How do you get to 30 a game? That's what Doug wants, in my opinion. We'll be back. Brent Friends on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690.
Continuing to track areas of heavy rain for the remainder of your Monday, with muggy conditions persisting overnight. Cloudy with some coastal showers tonight. Low temperatures in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. Another round of scattered on and off showers. Some very heavy rain at times as well possible on Tuesday with any slow-moving downpours and thunderstorms. It will be breezy at times on Tuesday, especially along the St. Johns River and the Atlantic coast, as we'll track temperatures for highs near 80 degrees. Kept cooler thanks to the clouds and rain, and that'll persist into Wednesday. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Trevor Gibbs.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices, guaranteed.
Victim of a slip and fall? It takes one phone call to take back control of your life. Anajar and Levine will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. Call me, Mark Anajar, for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Main office, Jacksonville.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Tired of living with joint pain? Now there's a better natural solution. Call QC Kinetics. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. QC Kinetics. Treatments for your pain. 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjax.com.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
True House, a leader in the structural building component industry for over 35 years, is hiring full-time trust builders in Jacksonville and Crescent City. Benefits include 401k plan, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, and professional growth. No previous experience required. True House offers production incentives, allowing you to earn up to $2 more per hour in your weekly paycheck. Most employees work Monday through Thursday, giving you more time with your family on the weekends. Apply for the full-time trust builder position at truehouse.com/careers.
My name is Jillian. I'm a business development consultant here at Cox Media Group in Jacksonville, Florida. I graduated college almost a year ago and never thought I'd already have a career in sales that has given me the best postgraduate job experience. CMG has given me the opportunities to grow my creativity and allow me to be myself in every way possible when helping other businesses grow. Do you want to get a head start right out of college like I did? Then join us this Wednesday for an open house 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Email us at jaxjobs@cmg.com for more info. That's this Wednesday, CMG open house from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk, I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill each morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
This is Pretection. Yep, Pretection. The everyday skin protection ritual that protects your skin from mosquitoes. pre-barbecue, pre-playground, pre-everything, pre-every day. Prevention is the best protection. This summer, make sure you have OFF, the #1 dermatologist-recommended repellent brand. SC Johnson, a family company.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent AS Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690. You like the NFL draft in Green Bay?
Boo. Oh, man, fun night, the NFL draft. What are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to sleep at 4:30. Like, what a bore. Like, no offense, Green Bay. It was a nice place.
I'm going to fence Green Bay.
If you can get over the scent from the paper mill, Kasey.
Gross.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's still there.
Oh, my
goodness.
goodness.
How long were you there?
07, 08.
See, they've really built up around the stadium. I forget what they call it, but like it's the only stadium I haven't been to. We're supposed to go COVID year, so I didn't go.
It was a fascinating place.
And I'd love to go, but I don't. Here's what's interesting. I'd like to go to Green Bay to watch a game. Not to go
work
see
it.
Lambeau Field. No, not to go see Lambeau Field host the draft.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like the appeal, unless you're going to play an all-star game right there or give me an exhibition game in April. I mean, nobody, like, that's why you're going to Green Bay.
Yeah.
Is to go see Lambeau Field, not just to see it, but to feel it in a game setting.
Check out the birthplace of ice. Like, what are you doing, NFL? Unbelievable.
Birthplace of ice.
It's, look, no offense, but Green
It's
Bay.
an awful spot.
And it's like, it's a neighborhood with a stadium plopped in the middle of it. And obviously, if they fixed up around the stadium, then fine. But you're still only talking about, like, the immediate concourse area.
Yeah, it's just not good.
There's legitimate it is so residential by that stadium case that on game day, there are just people with front lawns who offer you to allow you to park there for $10 to $20.
Oh, that was 07, bro. Inflation hits
it's
probably
like
$80 a spot.
You know, but what I'm saying is, like,
yes,
it's not a parking lot.
It's a Wrigley Field situation.
Yes, you're not taking the shuttle bus.
Listen,
You're
it's a
great
great
parking at a
place.
neighbor's house.
It's a great
Not
place.
for the draft. I'm with Aaron. Anywhere else.
Anywhere.
Give me Miami.
Here's the thing. I covered the
Phoenix.
draft in Chicago, New York, and Chicago. And Chicago really, like I remember, it was freezing, man. It was so
weather.
cold.
You're
Who cares?
inside.
No, you're not. Like, you're doing stuff outside, and they've got, like, the NFL experience set up. It's not just inside.
Minnesota.
And so
you talk about cold.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's I didn't like it in Chicago for partly that reason. So Green Bay is going to be very chilly. Again, Green Bay is a cool place, but like I think did they do it in Cleveland and Canton, Ohio? See, that made more sense near Canton, Ohio, because it's not like a game venue.
You got something
You go
there.
into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I don't think Green Bay makes a lot of sense. Here's the other thing that Schefter said, I think, when he just tweeted this, that they were the only ones for 2025. See, this is where you wish the Jags had. The Jags.
What does that mean? They're the only ones that wanted it?
I
The
get.
only ones what?
They said the only one in running. That's what he says.
You got to wonder if maybe the Jags thought they'd be busy with stadium
Oh, no.
stuff.
Now they have to be. But like the Jags were really into the draft. Like when this was in Philadelphia, what was Philadelphia? I don't know, maybe 2017, 18, something like that. The Jags were like on the verge of bidding. In fact, they might have even 1 year bid if I remember correctly, but they were on their verge of getting a bid together to host the draft. Well, then Philadelphia hit and Nashville hit. It got so big in there. And on top of that, they're like, well, let's do Lot J. Okay, Lot J doesn't work. Let's do the shipyards. And okay, now let's work on the stadium. So that's put everything off. But the bottom line is, like if the Jags had their stuff ready to go or were still interested in bidding in 2025, like they'd have a very good chance to get it, in my opinion. And that's why I've always said they're going to get the draft. Like the Jags will get the draft. Unfortunately, the timetable has been pushed a little bit to try to get all this other stuff done. But why isn't anybody else bidding on the draft?
Bro, that is embarrassing. Can you imagine Green Bay? They're like, we only got it because nobody else cared. Like, why do you throw that in your tweet, bro? Let them have their moments. Not, hey, nobody else wanted it. Literally, nobody else gave a penny, bro.
Yeah.
You're the only ones that were willing to give money for this.
I like that. Let them have their moment.
Like, come on, Schefter, bro. Now you're just embarrassing them.
They really are.
So the Jags have a new stadium. Let's say everything gets going, and they're building 26-27. Let's go the 2-year plan. So they really don't open it up probably until the 27th season, I guess would be the hope. Or maybe they debut with the draft in 28, even if they haven't played a game yet at the new stadium and downtown built up a little bit. So 2028. Potential. If all that were
Sounds
to go
like
through.
nobody else wants them, so.
Well, here's the other thing. If nobody else wants it, and this was a story coming out of Kansas City, Ben Becker always reminds me of these stories, that they didn't make as much money
this was just
as they thought they were going to make in Kansas City. In fact, it hurt small businesses and other things.
I was just reading about this a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
So is that why nobody's bidding on it?
It's
I
possible.
don't know. I still think the Jags would I think Jacksonville would like it. I think it fits so well here in Jacksonville. I've been to a lot of drafts, and this is a good spot for the draft.
I don't know if this is against the rules, but it sounds like nobody wants to draft. So it'd be hard this far out. But if I'm like the college team with the kid that's going to get picked first, I'm trying to bid on it. Like if USC could bid this year,
yeah,
that'd be cool.
That'd be fun for the first pick.
Yeah, like you have to do it so far out that you couldn't possibly. Like if Texas, would that make sense?
Yeah, like 4 years from now.
No, you're still a year short. So next year, Texas should be going for the thing if nobody else wants it because of Arch. Wouldn't that be nuts? That'd be cool.
Dallas could do a really good job inside the stadium with the draft.
Yeah.
Especially with as many good rivalries as they have. This is probably my new favorite part of the draft, by the way. And it's not that it's new that they do this, but you're seeing it a lot more. When you have the special guest drafter come up to the podium, but it's a really hated rival of the home crowd. It's so good, man.
It is pretty good. The more things coming from the NFL. I think there's some owners' meetings going on, like not as highly
the Minnesota owners
attended owners meeting.
Poor Green Bay.
More rules as it pertains to Thursday Night Football, says Schefter. Only 2 flexes are allowed all season. They must be done within 28 days advance notice. Teams cannot play 2 away Thursday Night Football games in a season. Here's the thing. Ton of pushback on the Thursday Night Football games.
Especially flexing.
So much so that 8 teams voted against it. But it still passed. The Giants, Jets, Packers, Bears, Raiders, Detroit, Bengals, Pittsburgh voted against it. But they still passed it 24-8. Usually you see votes like this, like 31-1 or 32, you know?
Yeah, coordinated.
They are not on the same page on this one. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here on Thursday nights. Again, this is the one issue. We brought this up when we were talking baseball rules changed or things like 17-game schedule that's changed. The thing that still is talked about a bunch that got put in place a long time ago now is that Thursday night game. You will hear players complain every single season about that Thursday night game. So the NFLPA obviously doesn't love this.
Yeah, and a lot of teams don't love it. This was the biggest one in terms of blowback you heard from the debated topics. That and getting rid of the onside kick, which was discussed but not voted on.
So there you go. A couple of nuggets coming out of the NFL. Green Bay 2025 looks to be the draft.
Could you
Thursday
imagine
Night Football.
If Green Bay thought they were bidding against other teams and they put in a real high bid, they're like, hey, we got this. We're definitely outbidding everybody else. They're like, you're the only one, dog.
I got one worse for you. What if they weren't told they were the only one, but they were told they still only got a 25% chance of getting it as the only people?
True. It's like, this is a mess.
It's like, we got a 25% chance of just canceling the thing this year.
Maybe this would have been a good year to go kind of that back to New York City that we had mentioned.
A little Radio City action or some other venue. Yeah.
It sounds like they almost had to, but Green Bay ponied up at the last second. Why do you not want it? That's so weird. Like if you're some random franchise, I guess Green Bay is random. That's fair.
I don't blame, by the way, this Thursday night stuff. This is not going to sit well. They got to be very careful on the flexes.
Yeah, it seems a little abusive for the players, doesn't it? Especially when you make them turn around and play a really.
Well, the bottom line is this is not about the players, and this is about $1 billion agreement with Amazon, who does the Thursday night games. I mean, that's what this is about. You got to get good games. One thing the NFL has tried to do and take care of their partners and who are paying a ton of money is get better games. Monday Night Football went through this for a while. They're getting better games. Sunday Night Football had all of a sudden become the marquee, where usually you're getting the good matchups, like a first priority matchup. But now Thursday Night Football suffered a lot over these last few years because everybody had a chance to go, so they had to kind of force some matchups. Well, they don't have to do that anymore. But the problem with not doing that is you might get a couple of teams on Thursday nights because you're flexing it, and they are really not going to be happy about it. I've long said I think that's about as difficult as you can do is play a Thursday night game. And I'll bring you back to last year. I believe the Jags game came right after Dallas. So they beat Dallas, then they go to New York. And this is something that will vividly stay with me for a long time. It's one of the reasons I respect Evan Ingram so much. This dude could not walk in the locker room after Dallas. I mean, he was like he couldn't stand up. Like he was just beat up. And he went out and played
4 days later.
4 days later, and he killed it. Like he was awesome. And I just have tremendous respect for those guys being able to do that. Listen, they get like no recovery time. You're on a plane on Wednesday, going to a hotel 3 days after you played. You don't have any practice time. And you got to go play this violent game. It's asinine they actually do it.
He does lose points for doing so well against the Jets. Seems to be easier than most teams. 7 catches, 113 yards.
It was awesome.
Oh, my goodness.
In the rain, after the Dallas game. Was it the Dallas game that he made the play to get off the field when he was hurt?
Yeah.
I mean, what a 5-day stretch that was for Evan Ingram. Sign him to an extension, Jags.
They're trying.
Let's go. We'll be back. Put a bow on this show. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton up next. And no gate fees coming up 7 o'clock on ESPN 690.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. We'll have 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000. All you have to do is enter the correct keyword at ESPN690.com to be eligible to win. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply. ESPN 690 pays your bills. Sponsored by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Weekdays at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 2, and 5 p.m. Tune in to win from ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
This is a busy time of year for families, especially if you have teenagers, kids getting their license, kids going off to college, and someone probably needs a new car, and that's why you go to Nimnick Buick GMC, #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Looking for the perfect truck or SUV? Nimnick Buick GMC has more models on the ground than they've had in over 2 years. Looking for a used car under $18,000? Nimnick has a great selection of over 300 used cars, trucks, and SUVs to choose from. Visit the showroom off Phillips Highway or shop NimnickBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
It's fishing time, old school style. The Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is June 10th in St. Augustine. Fishing fun for everyone. Big boats, small boats, and just a $250 entry fee if you register early by May 31st. The catch for the Old School Kingfish Shootout, limited boundaries. Fernandina Beach to Daytona Beach, but only 3 miles offshore. OldSchoolKingfish.com to register and do it early by May 31st. Get your chance to win over $200,000 in prizes. Fishing fun for everyone, June 10th in St. Augustine. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
Just be confident. Just be wise. Just be free. Financial security is a goal everyone has. What that looks like and how you get there is up to you. You don't have to do it all on your own. Community First Move Up Financial Wellness Program gives you the tools you need to make smarter decisions to help you reach your financial goals your way. Get started at communityfirstfl.org. Community First Credit Union. Just be yourself. Federally insured by NCUA.
My name is Jillian. I'm a business development consultant here at Cox Media Group in Jacksonville, Florida. I graduated college almost a year ago and never thought I'd already have a career in sales that has given me the best postgraduate job experience. CMG has given me the opportunities to grow my creativity and allow me to be myself in every way possible when helping other businesses grow. Do you want to get a head start right out of college like I did? Then join us this Wednesday for an open house 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Email us at jacksjobs@cmg.com for more info. That's this Wednesday, CMG open house from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
When students struggle because they are hungry
or fall behind because they lack school supplies,
a caring adult can make all the difference.
Especially someone from the community.
Someone who knows the students
and the obstacles they might be facing.
At Communities in Schools, our site coordinators surround students with a community of support
to ensure that they have everything they need to engage in learning.
We go all in for kids, all day, every day.
To learn more, visit communitiesinschools.org.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. Time to put a bow on the show. Aaron likes when I say that.
It's a fun little saying. I like it.
Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton coming up next. No gate fees after that. Once again, pass along. Columbia lost today in baseball in the state Final Four. So an updated score. We'll show you some highlights of that tonight. I guess in a way, kind of low lights tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30. We'll also give you an update tonight on University Christian, who plays in Claremont. We had a nice discussion about Claremont in the Hills.
Have fun at the Applebee's, folks.
My buddy Chris, he texted when he heard that segment. He said, if they blindfolded you and opened it up on top of one of those hills, you would swear you're in the Midwest or a northern part of the country.
Wow.
In Claremont.
Well, rolling Florida hills.
He also said, check out the Olympus Project in Claremont. Pretty cool. I don't know what that is. I'll have to go sightsee.
Trying to find some notable people from Claremont, Florida.
Here we go.
Not really finding too many of them. Do you guys know who Julie Doe is?
No.
Or Norm Duke?
No.
Maybe Randy Pederson? Is he Doug's cousin or something? Nothing. Nobody famous.
Yeah, nobody famous.
It's depressing.
Claremont. But they do have Applebee's.
Look, the second you go in there, you'll be the most famous person, Brent.
You will. You could be on this list of people.
So I should move there.
You and Andy Jones from American football.
Hey, couple quick things. Any chance, there's no chance the Celtics or Lakers come back, right?
Nope.
Okay.
I've embarrassed myself enough with this series. The Celtics series. Losing all my flip coins, guys. I'm down a lot of flip coins right now.
We'll talk about that betting. There's another betting surfacing up. Who's going to? Hey,
Man.
You know what? Interesting now. I read that today, and I'll read just the headline, and we'll get into it more tomorrow. What's this? 24-hour teas up and coming? Mm-hmm. You should do one of those every day. Mm. So Schefter and I think others have said, after 5 players were suspended in April, the NFL is now investigating a second wave of potential violations of its gambling policy, sources tell ESPN's David Purdom. And you know what my thought was?
That we should bet on who the bettors are?
Yes.
No.
Oh, never mind.
Now you start looking at stuff like this, you're like, I hope it's not a Jags player.
Oh, of course not. You don't want it to be your team.
If this is going to become widespread, you're like, man, I hope someone didn't get involved in something. And by the way, this isn't like a tongue-in-cheek thing with Calvin Ridley. I'm not thinking of that.
No, you're just saying you hope your team isn't
general.
affected. But I was reading the piece, and it seems like the NFL is pretty good about saturating the message of you're not allowed to bet the NFL ever. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter when you are. Don't bet the league.
What would be interesting about the Jags' perspective is it's illegal in Florida. So you might have another problem on your hands.
Now, again, we'll get into it a lot more tomorrow, but I was also fascinated at the fact that the NFL and these betting agencies know where and when you're making these bets, even when it's on your phone. A lot of these guys think they're getting away with something.
Yeah, well, they've got to know that by now. Like, sooner or later, like that part, you've got to know.
Because I don't think the players do understand that part.
Well, then a couple more of these they'll understand.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's like when kids now get busted
Social media
for doing
trouble?
stuff on social media. It's like, listen, we've been doing this for 10 years.
Yes.
Like, you know what's coming. You've been educated on it. Now you're just being an idiot, right? Or you are an idiot to begin with, depending on what you put out there. So,
well,
call me an idiot because I lost all the flip coins? Feels like it.
So that will be interesting to keep an eye on. One last thought. Big Ben, did you hear him on Kenny Pickett?
I saw the comments, yeah. It's very much an Aaron thing to say. I have a feeling Kasey would feel the same way.
No, here's the thing about what Ben Roethlisberger said.
Oh, yeah.
90% of America would feel the same way.
All right, good. I feel a little better then. Because I read those comments.
You just didn't want to say it. You just said you wanted to be politically correct.
No. I said I would do it. I said I would be that guy. Basically, Ben said, go ahead.
He basically said he was rooting against Kenny Pickett.
Right.
Because he thought people would forget about him, which is a little crazy because Roethlisberger played for a long time. Like, this isn't.
He was fairly decent.
I also think.
I mean, Kenny Pickett would have to play a lot of years to forget. That's a big time insecurity that if you play there for 15 years, win a Super Bowl, do what Big Ben did, and are afraid of Kenny Pickett in like the first couple of years stealing your thunder?
Told you he was good, boy.
Was it that people would forget or just have a new person to lust after?
Well, I think both, but at least in the context I heard it was like they'd forget about it.
I've been a program director of at least 3 or 4 radio stations at this point in my career. Every time I've left one of them, I've wished for their failure despite still being at the same company. Like literally my coworker, my friend is running that station. I'm like, I hope it does worse than when I did it.
But do you guys agree? Like, I think most of America, to your point, feels a lot of the same way Big Ben felt like in that context.
Yeah, you want to be the person.
They just don't say it.
Yeah, well, it's a bad teammate look. But the reality is you want to be first place. Everyone wants to be first place. Some young upstart steps in there and succeeds day one. I'm not looking for that.
Absolutely, man. Like, but there's a difference. Like, I guess I try to put this in the context. Okay, if I'm fired today, I hope ESPN 690 goes under.
Okay.
If I leave and you guys are on the show or somebody that takes my place, I think I'm rooting for it. And that's why Big Ben, like, he wasn't forced out. It was like, it was time to go.
But he decided it was time to go because he couldn't do it anymore. He was too old, too run down. It was over. He didn't say when it was over. Time said when it was over.
So what you're saying is when I retire, I won't be rooting for the guy that takes my place? That's maybe fair. I'll have to see. Hey,
I wouldn't even
if
root
I could retire and we're still doing this, that'd be a hell of a run,
That'd actually
boys.
be a good run. That'd probably be one of the best in the city.
We won't be.
We won't be. Oh, no. We won't be.
Correct.
Maybe I will be.
Yeah, you. I bet on you. We is the problem.
I will bet 10,000 flip coins you'll still be here in 25 minutes.
Oh, well, that ain't happening then. Another loss for Aaron. Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton up next. Back at it tomorrow, 3 o'clock on ESPN 690. Have a good night, everybody.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Rich Jones here. If you're an investor who's interested in doing well while doing good, getting solid returns on your investments while making a positive impact, consider investment funds with DLP Capital. Here's Don Winter, CEO of DLP Real Estate Capital, to tell you more.
With the current housing shortage in the U.S., investing in real estate, especially workforce housing, is one of the safest and most reliable places to invest. We invest in affordable housing for hardworking people and generate amazing returns for each of our investors.
To get your investor's guide and find out more, dial **invest from your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
The summer months can be a gift-giving time of year. Graduations, birthdays, Father's Day on the horizon. And if you know a golfer, we've got a gift for them. How about the Dream 18 golf cart? Action Sports Jacks, Dream18.com. Just $69 to save hundreds of dollars on local golf courses. The Golf Club at Southampton, St. John's Golf and Country Club, Hidden Hills, Osprey Cove, The Yards, Amelia River Golf Club, Eagle Landing, Fleming Island Golf Club, and Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club. Action Sports Jacks, Dream18.com. Get the Dream 18 golf cart and golf all year.
Imagine you're looking at a balancing scale with everything you do for other people on one side and everything you do for yourself on the other side. If it isn't balanced, maybe it's time to spend a little more time on you. And therapy is a great place to start. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist online who can help you find that balance and stick to it. Visit BetterHelp.com/score to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/score.
O'Reilly. Improve visibility and save $8 instantly when you pick up a pair of Bosch Icon wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Bosch Icon premium blades can help you see better and drive safer. And our professional parts people will install them for you for free. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation. It's a great time of year to invest in energy-efficient improvements to your home. With our competitive rates and new tax credits for insulation upgrades, you can get huge savings to improve your insulation today and see long-term savings every month going forward.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Lakers on the brink of elimination host the Nuggets. Game 4 NBA West Finals tonight, 8 Eastern ESPN Radio, 8:30 Eastern ESPN TV. LA, 3-point favorite at home, virtually has no shot at winning tonight, says First Take host Stephen A. Smith.
The only way that happens is if Denver is more interested in celebrating at home instead of here in LA. Because it's going to be the Nuggets that determine this. Lakers ain't got no answer for them. They're going to, if they're determined, they're going to close them out tonight. The only way they're going to lose tonight is if they say, you know what, we'd rather celebrate in the Mile City.
A Nuggets win results in their first series sweep in franchise history, first NBA Finals appearance, and marks the first time LeBron James is swept before the NBA Finals. NFL owners approved the flexing for Thursday Night Football starting this season during weeks 13 through 17. Only 2 flexes allowed all season, must be done within 28 days of advance notice. Tiger Woods has withdrawn from next month's U.S. Open. Still no timeline for his return to action from last month's ankle surgery.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Make sure your family is well taken care of with life insurance. Protect your phones, laptops, and more with electronic device insurance. And cover your furry friends with pet health insurance.
Sell your home fast with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry, so you can sell your home stress-free, make the most money, and move when you're ready. Don't worry about the hassle of constant cleaning and making costly repairs. There are no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Our guaranteed offer keeps you in control. Find out what your guaranteed offer would be. There's no obligation. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Certain restrictions apply.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Mary on Demand is live. Start your marijuana education journey today and learn more with Mary on Demand. Take the self-guided education series at your own pace. You'll decide what you'd like to learn and when. Visit mary.famu.edu to learn more. That's mmeri.famu.edu. Mary, educate, learn, talk.
What's going on a Monday? Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690. We don't really do titles on the show anymore because we went to the up and down cam system. If you're on the stream, you know what we're talking about. If you've never been on the stream, you have no idea what we're talking about, but we would occasionally say things like Milkin' a Monday because that was what we labeled it on the stream.
Milkin' a Monday?
You don't remember Milkin' a Monday?
I don't remember that one. Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Oh, you know Milkin' a Monday was the day that old boy didn't show up for 15 minutes?
Oh, did you change the title by the time I got down here? Was it a new show by then?
No, but we went to the 2 cam and it was gone because we had the up and downs by then. So okay. Milkin' a Monday was the title, and I went on the air saying, nobody's got accountability, so you need to show up for work on time, this and that, the other thing.
I don't remember that at all. Milk on a Monday? I don't have headphones in because I left it down in the other studio. I got to get it later.
This is what I'm talking about.
Are you saying milk on a Monday?
Milking.
Oh, milking a Monday. Yeah, I still don't like it. Okay. Still don't like it. I'm glad I didn't see it.
What this leads to is today's title would be a Football is Back Monday if we still did the titles. It'd be a little clickbaity, sure. You get your protein bar. Oh, really? It'd be a little clickbaity if that was what it was, but the truth of the matter is football was played today in a practice form at TIAA Bank Field. That's what we got. It looks like you have a headphone delivery. Very good. As we move off of Milkin' a Monday and a Football is Back Monday, the Jags are back on the field, minus a couple of humans, which we will tell you about. Doug Pederson and Press Taylor speaking to the media, which we will play for you a little bit of what was said. But the leadoff is most humans were in attendance for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I say most. Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, some of the humans in attendance. Some of the humans not in attendance, Evan Ingram. That should be no surprise. What is that?
I don't know, man. You told me there's nothing to worry about.
There's nothing to worry about.
You told me way back in April, he's like, it's April. There's nothing to worry about. And I'm like,
guess
all right.
What? It's May now.
Okay.
There's
nothing
still
to worry about.
nothing to worry about.
I got to make sure to start pulling these episodes and these clips just to make a montage to see your change over the year.
Keep pulling them because I'm not worried.
Yeah, don't worry.
I'm not worried at all.
Okay. Go ahead.
Josh Allen, not in attendance. I think that's nothing. Some people want to say that's something on social media. I think it's a bunch of nothing. The one thing that Josh Allen has proven since he's been here is that he gonna work. So the idea that he's not here for a voluntary period in May, there is no concern. And then Cam Robinson, who would not be able to participate because of injury, not suspension, but because of the injury, still wouldn't be able to do his thing. Not in the facility either. But again, no big deal on that front. I think Josh Allen will be fine. No reason to worry. And Evan Ingram, no reason to worry for me. Apparently, Brian Middleton is a bit concerned. I am not. I think things will be fine. Things will be signed. Extensions may be given. Who knows? But those are the ones missing in action at Jaguars OTAs today. Something of note that I absolutely hate and despise, but it's only May, so I'm not going to overreact, is Anton Harrison at the right tackle position. He's a left tackle, played one game at right tackle in his college career, 50-something snaps. He's a left tackle. Drafted him in the first round as a left tackle. He was at right tackle today. Again, it is May. I'm not going to overreact. But if you're going to tell me that he's your right tackle after telling me that he was your replacement for Cam Robinson, that's not going to fly. You're not going to somehow convince me that if he's going to be a right tackle for the first season of his career, that he's just going to move to left tackle after that. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that's a good idea. Again, I despise that. But it's May 22nd to be exact, 6:07 p.m. You're listening to ESPN 690. I've covered all the bases. So I'm not going to overreact. But I kind of hate it. What does it mean for Walker Little? Well, it obviously means he was at left tackle. What does it mean when Cam comes back? Sounds like Walker Little might be the man out in this scenario. But again, it's May. I'm not going to overreact. I'm just telling you what happened on the field. Jordan Smith, you remember him? They drafted him a couple of years ago. He was on the field. Didn't play, and then got hurt. Calvin Ridley was on the field. Rocking number 0. People very excited about that. Incredible footwork in drills. Footwork, I should say. That's what we saw today. Out of all those things that I just mentioned, Brian Middleton, do any of them stand out to you more so than others?
No. To the Anton Harrison thing, I know we're going to get more into Doug Pederson's, press conference.
Yes.
In a moment, but it wasn't a slip of the tongue, but he even mentioned that Anton plays guard. So for him not to be at the left tackle position, to be at the right tackle position, I mean, he even said it himself that he would play anywhere that the Jags need him to play at, and whether it be one game or whether it be where he spent the majority of his collegiate career at, position-wise, left tackle to right tackle or guard, if he say he can play it, if Doug Pederson is just saying it in passing, whether he means it fully or not, that part right there doesn't cause any concern, alarm, or even like an emotion in the way that I don't like that for our first round pick that we think should be a left tackle. That's why you get a guy like that in the first round, me personally. As far as the rest of it, I don't know how highly I place OTAs in the grand scheme of things for a team in the Jags who I would like to think have, in basically one season, turned a culture around. And you can assign you can award the percentage of who's responsible for that, how you want to break it up, whether it be Shad finally got everything lined up, Doug Pederson, Trevor Lawrence, or, whoever you want to put in the list of, and this is why it's happened. I feel like for teams that have that kind of culture, it doesn't always end up in a Super Bowl. Heck, it may not always end up in a deep playoff run, but more times than not, OTAs are just one of those things where, the new players need to get their feet wet, and the vets want to come in and show that they're a part of the team, and they want to work towards something, greater, and they think that this is vital to that, then so be it. But even with the list of names that you named of the players who weren't there, all pretty vital guys to the team. But it's just, I don't know how high I place it, OTAs just in general. So I'm just like, anything you see here outside of, maybe what you see from the rookies or whatnot, it's just kind of like, okay, that's par for the course. Now, in the summertime, that's going to change. But right now, I'm taking a very Kasey Kurtz approach to, it's May. It's May. Now, if Trevor didn't show up, I will say that might be one thing that would have been like, come on, man. Come on, guy. Like, you show up. But everything else is just kind of very, okay, cool. I'm glad that I don't have anything that really sticks out that makes me be like, even though I kind of jokingly went back and forth with you about Evan Ingram, because I think that's another mark of teams, probably just most teams that have some semblance of sanity in their culture across the NFL, but especially the good teams. They don't have things that make you go, oh boy. They don't have storylines in May at OTA, and we don't have that, and I'm happy for that.
Let's hear from Press Taylor, who is talking about the Evan Ingram situation. Press Taylor, the Jags offensive coordinator, obviously. This will be cut number 5, Brian Middleton. I do not think it's a big deal that Evan Ingram's not here. feel how you want about the contract situation that he is in, but Press Taylor with Cut 5, any concerns that Evan Ingram is not here at the moment?
Not at all, no. Just what Evan showed us last year, the type of worker he is. We have zero concerns that Evan's going to show up. When Evan shows up, he's going to be ready to roll, and we know that.
Yep, that's pretty much it. I'm right there with you, Press Taylor. I'm not worried about it at all. Now, I want to go back to something you said about Anton Harrison. And
can I just jump in real quick?
Absolutely, you can.
Don't lose that thought.
I won't.
Piggyback that, because look at what Evan Ingram did coming into last season. Chip on the shoulder, something to prove. And, the franchise tag, that 1 year money is good, but this is clearly, I got something else to prove, even though we all are hoping and thinking that a longer-term deal is going to get done. So, the one thing that you haven't heard, regardless of things not working out up in New York or down here, you haven't heard something where it's been like a laziness or taking a playoff here or there. And so there's no reason to start thinking that now, regardless if he's here or not.
I agree with that. It's a good call. I believe Evan Ingram is wherever he is working. I don't think you're going to have to worry about coming in out of shape or anything like that. I don't think he's that guy. And, you could even go to the point, like you were just saying, like only getting a franchise tag, if that's all he gets, could be another chip on the shoulder moment for Evan Ingram. So we will have to see. But, again, not here, hasn't signed the franchise tag. Press Taylor's not worried about it, as I think he is correct. Back to Anton Harrison. And you mentioned it. And I'm thrilled that Anton Harrison's willing to play wherever that they would put him, but it doesn't mean it's the right thing. Like, he should say that. That's great, but that's not how you should be operating. This is a guy that needs stability. This is a guy that you picked in the first round when you could have had many other football players. This is a guy that, if you're picking in the first round, needs to be a staple of your organization for 2 contracts at a minimum. So it's great that he's willing to do whatever it takes. But did you draft him as a left tackle? The answer is yes. You play him, and hear me out here, as a left tackle. I don't care. You do. That's what you do.
Okay, yeah.
If they're going to play him at right tackle, and again, it's May, but if they're going to play him at right tackle, and then in 365 try to move him to left tackle after Cam is gone, then no. No.
Why?
Because I think it's a big thing to learn one position. It's what I argued with Trayvon Walker last year. You drafted him because he can do a lot of things well. That's great. This is the NFL. I don't need him to play 3 positions at once. I need him to be great at one position. You picked Trayvon Walker because he was able to do a lot of things, but he wasn't great at one thing like Aiden Hutchinson was. And then you asked him to do what Aiden Hutchinson does, and he wasn't as good, right? But put him in one spot, and you moved him around multiple times last year. Put him in one spot and let him succeed and develop in that position. So then I go to Anton Harrison, and I'm like, if you drafted him as a left tackle, you put him at left tackle. If that means he doesn't play all year, he doesn't play all year because Cam Robinson's in, whatever. But he's developing as a left tackle. I don't need him to develop as a right tackle or start that development, get maybe comfortable at the right tackle spot, and then you go, okay, that was fun for 365. Let's slip you over here for the next 7 years. You're stunting the development. They are different positions. They are both tackle. I understand that. But your lead foot, all of those things are different on other sides of the line. So that's the part that I don't like about it, because then if you're going to tell me you drafted a right tackle in the first round, I'm going to look at you kind of sideways because you had Walker Little. And now Walker Little, who, again, it's May. I'm trying not to overreact, but I can tell that I am a little bit.
Yeah.
Now you have Walker Little, who's going to be your swing tackle again, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to be thrilled about that.
Well,
after playing well enough to earn himself one of the 2 tackle spots.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Okay, whether you're thrilled or not, you're under contract, unless you're going to just, not show up.
Brian, I agree with that.
Be thrilled or don't be thrilled. Go out there and execute, though. How about that?
I agree with that. And I don't think you're wrong, but I think we're looking at this team going, okay, they have good depth at tackle because when Cam comes back, they then have 2 of these guys. Or 3 of these guys, technically, with Anton Harrison. But you might go into a situation where you don't play Walker Little, he gets mad, doesn't want to re-sign. You get rid of Cam, Walker Little might be out the door next, and all of a sudden your team that you had a lot of depth, the position you had a lot of depth at, you got no depth, right?
I mean, that's a possible scenario. I'll give you that. Okay.
Because if Cam comes back, and by the way, when Cam comes back, he's playing. I know some people think that's not going to – he's playing. He's your left tackle when he comes back. You're now looking at, 3 years that Walker Little's really been on the bench? It gets annoying at some point, especially when you're performing, right? He had a bad moment or two, but it's not like the guy's out there as a liability. He's earned himself to be on the field, and you just can't get him there. That's why, in my mind, which apparently was not what they were operating under, my mind, I thought he was your right tackle. Anton Harrison was your left tackle. When Cam came back, you know what? Anton Harrison's going to slide to the bench. He's going to learn from Cam Robinson. And then next year, you've got your staple left tackle. That's what I thought.
Which may still, I mean,
again,
parts
it's
of
May.
that may
You're
be,
right.
but parts of that may actually be true. Parts of what you just said. But it may look a little different on the front end. And here's the other thing. I'm not for stunted growth, but I understand that point as well. If you draft him as a left tackle and then he starts developing as a right tackle, though there may be a bit of crossover, it is two completely different positions. I understand that. I agree with that, actually, Kasey Kurtz.
Thank you.
That was a decent point. Anton Harrison has been playing left tackle. I don't know how long, but he was playing it at the highest level for at least the last 3 years. I believe I did that math right.
You did.
I understand the NFL is different than college. He's not going to forget what you're doing as a left tackle, even in one season. Yes, I understand, again, the point about growth and development in that position that you drafted him as, or at least all of us looking on at the NFL draft and seeing his position believe that left tackle. But if he's at right tackle or he swings a bit or however they kind of maneuver that rotation, if there is even a rotation at tackle, barring some type of injury, I feel comfortable in saying that one season won't erase what Anton Harrison understands about the left tackle position or his talent or his ceiling. Granted, it may take him a second longer to get there if he's playing right tackle for the majority of this upcoming season for whatever reason, or even for a big chunk, Kasey. But 2024 rolls around, the 24-25 season rolls around, and that scenario that you just laid out about Cam Robinson being out and Walker Little, hopefully, he's not too unhappy. He's still here. I mean, he'd be here anyway. And then Anton Harrison moves in as a left tackle. I think that is still something where he would be able to thrive and be that first-round kind of talent that he is proven to be, at least in college.
And I agree that he won't forget how to do it, obviously, but here's why I'm pushing back. This is the NFL. This ain't the NCAA,
yes.
Right? When you're at Oklahoma, 1 week you might be going up against a true freshman. The next week, maybe a sophomore. This is the NFL. So, he's not going to forget how to do it, but there's a difference of learning how to play the right side, which you've never done, at the NFL level, when in weeks you're going Will Anderson into Von Miller, into somebody for the Colts who's, I can't even think of one of their pass rushers, into Cam Jordan, into TJ Watt, into Nick Bosa, into Harold Landry if he's back. It's just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not only do you have to develop him on the right side going against the best on the planet, Frank Clark in week 2, or Chris Jones in week 2, Frank Clark is no longer on their team, he's got to learn the position. So I don't know. It's just confusing.
It's a lot. It's going to be a lot for him.
It feels easier to just play him at the position that he's played his whole life, albeit more high leverage, albeit knowing that you would have to not play a full season because Cam will play when he comes back. I know all of those things, but it just feels like what they should be doing, because then you can look at Walker Little and go, you're our right tackle guy, and you got 2 years to prove that we should re-sign you. Again, that's just maybe how my mind operates.
No, there are points that you make that I totally agree with, and it would be easier. Hey, we draft you as a left tackle. You're going to play left tackle. And also there is something to mastering one thing, the thing that you're supposed to be mastering before you go off trying to do all types of other stuff and get good at everything, right? Because you try to get good at everything at the same time or, out of order. That puts a delay basically on you being great at anything. So I understand the points that you're making. I just think that with all these scenarios that me and you are just throwing back and forth, they got to be doing that in the building. And they've got to have at least determined that they have somewhat of a plan.
Sure.
They've kind of seen, kind of what they've done with, Trayvon or like the rookies last year that we were really counting on and whatnot. And granted, different position, different side of the ball, but you kind of like, okay, maybe we try to maneuver it this way. And then one more time, Kasey, knock on wood, hopefully there's no injury. But again, having Walker Little last year, when we did have some injuries and that popping in, that was vital to that playoff run. It really was, in my opinion. So I get what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to handle a bunch of different things at one time. They're trying to make sure they got an offensive line for a team that some of us in Jacksonville think that they're good enough to get to a Super Bowl, but at the very least get to the playoffs and make some noise. So they're trying to make sure that they protect, Trevor. They have some semblance of a run game, things of that nature. They're trying to look at the near future and the far future because of the scenario that you just laid out with like Cam Robinson. And also they're trying to hedge their bets in case someone gets injured. A lot of moving parts here, and they are trying to come up with the best plan possible. And like I said last week, Kasey, Trent and Doug, I think they built enough currency, enough, not a lot, but enough currency with the Jacksonville faithful, myself included, that we at least are going to say, okay, this is the plan you're going with. It worked second half of the season going into the playoffs last year to a great degree. Okay, okay, but the bottom better not fall out.
Right. That's fair. It's fair. Doug's definitely earned that. But again, they've made 2 straight first-round picks that are boom or bust.
Yeah.
I mean, Trayvon more than Anton, but I mean, you pick a guy that might not even get on the field in his first year that much outside of the suspension. So we'll see. Hey, cut number 9 from Doug Pederson is talking about the offensive line group and how they've been impacted by the eventual suspension of Cam Robinson. This is what Doug had to say about how the linemen have been handling that distraction.
Even if Cam were here right now, he's hurt. And, he wouldn't be doing a lot of stuff. So it would still be the same situation, right? So great for both those guys. Great for Anton to get all the reps he can, mentally out there. And it'll just put us in a better position heading into camp.
At left tackle, though, right? I won't spend any more on it. But it's just, there it is from Doug Pederson.
So then what's the dream scenario for you going into the regular season? Week 1, what's the dream scenario offensive line-wise at the tackle position? Well, I'm sorry. That's not fair because Cam Robinson's not there. But when Cam is back from suspension, what's the dream scenario at tackle for you?
I think that it should be Cam and Walker. I don't believe that it will just now in May. I think, and it's risky to play a rookie at left tackle. I understand that, especially when you're on a team like this. So Walker Little with the experience, okay. I get it. But if you want this guy to be your left tackle, I want him being your left tackle from day one because he could be getting all of these mental reps, as Doug Pederson just said in May. He could also get an extreme amount of the reps in training camp because Cam will still be there, but you could give him left tackle reps and all of these reps. And for the first 6 weeks in every game, if it is 6 week suspension, again, we don't know yet. But however long the suspension is, he's getting all those reps in game, but also in practice as a left tackle. So then next year, if he's your left tackle of the future, he's got all of this under his belt and you hit the ground running. And by the way, Walker Little just had a year at right tackle. So now you're feeling better about your right tackle situation and your left tackle situation. That would be a dream scenario for me. And it's what I think that it's what I thought they were going to do. Again, it's May 22nd. So could tomorrow or the next time media is open at OTAs, could Anton Harrison be at the left tackle position? Certainly, it's possible. But on day 1, moment 1, starting off at right tackle, I don't want to say it tells you everything, but I think it tells you something. You got to read the tea leaves at times. And that one was right in front of your face. You didn't even have to do any investigative journalism. He was at right tackle. Boom, boom, boom. So
what do you think Trevor's dream scenario is? Go with the vets? Go with the guys who have been there?
Whatever it takes to not get hit, but I would bet yes. I would bet there's a certain comfortability of someone who's played in the league a little bit to be on your blind side.
Yeah.
And I get that. I do understand that part of it. But don't sell me that he's the left tackle of the future and I'm going to play him at right tackle now. I just don't. I don't like it. One more before we go to break. You mentioned Trevor Lawrence, so why not listen to Doug Pederson talk about him? We are looking at – am I on the wrong thing? I am on the wrong thing. We're talking to Press Taylor now. Sorry about that, Brian. Cut to Trevor Lawrence, and now that they've had a year and they understand this offense, Trevor knows how to run this offense, they have to get better. And critiques may be made from the coaching staff after Trevor had a very, very good second half of the season. How is he handling some of the critiques and changes they're going to make to this offense that he's now running? Brian, Press Taylor, cut to.
You're able to sit down and say, here's what we see, here's what we need to improve on. He generally has the same notes for the most part. We'll ask, what are your thoughts? And he kind of says the same thing we're tracking, so that's very encouraging for us as a coaching staff to kind of already see the same things, want to improve on the same things, whether that's fundamentals with him or schematics in terms of our whole offense.
The second year in this scheme, the second year with all of the same coaching staff around him, the second year with the majority of the same players outside of Calvin Ridley, should be massive for Trevor Lawrence. Press Taylor just said it there a little bit, that Trevor's identifying things that they want to change and they're all on the same page. This is very, very good stuff. And then you add Calvin Ridley to it. It could be dangerous. It could be very, very dangerous. But they need more consistency. The first half of the year was not good. Second half of the year was great. Find that middle ground or just be great all the time. Whatever works. But I like the idea that things they're identifying, as Press said, that they might want to change, Trevor's also identifying. It is like a weird harmony right now. That is not a thing you've said about the Jags, maybe ever. Harmony. And it feels like that's what they're in, at least with the quarterback and the head coach and the offensive coordinator and the offensive staff. They are in harmony, making good decisions together. It's a wild thing. How about it?
No, it is, Kasey. I don't know if it's a future cut you'll play on the other side of this break, but that was also one of the things that Doug Pederson was touting. And he was talking about, hey, listen, being able to coach to fine-tune as opposed to implementation. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but that's what the overall premise of his statement was. With the guys that you were in the games with last year, for the most part, outside of a Calvin Ridley or, I'm trying to think of somebody, Anton Harrison, somebody who has to learn the installation of the offense or the defense, depending on who you're adding in there at times. But for the majority of the guys there, especially the cornerstones of the team, it is now coaching to fine-tune. And that is where you do see, I think, like you said, Kasey, those exponential jumps, whether it be your third-year QB, I really would say my second-year QB, or it could be a vet. They were very high talking about, Rayshawn Jenkins and his leadership and just, being there. I think that as a team, especially Trevor, but as a team, everybody's awareness is going to move up more. It's like the video game. It's like Madden, or back in the day, showing my age, the college football. I think they're coming back, but used to have awareness. I never really understood what awareness was until I had players that I would recruit, and they'd have like 50 awareness, but they have like 99 speed, but they'd be dumb. They would never run the right route, be stupid. And I feel like everybody's awareness on the team is going to go up like 5 points just because it's the second year in the system, and the guys who don't know, who are learning for the first time now, are going to be acclimated and integrated into the majority of guys who do know and can bring them along much more quickly than if they had joined the team last year, Kasey.
I agree, and that's where you get that unspoken connection that Mahomes and Kelce have.
Yeah, good point.
I would imagine the first connection, which we start to see last year, he does have one with Ingram, don't get me wrong, but Evan Ingram's not there right now. Christian Kirk is that guy for me. And I always thought, even into last year, when the chips were down, I believe Trevor was going to Marvin Jones because that's the first thing that he trusted.
Interesting. Yeah.
And that's the only thing he trusted to open last season. Now, obviously Marvin's not here, but the trust is more open, and the year that you just had with Christian Kirk, and you did have with Evan Ingram and Zay Jones, I get it, but we started to see that unspoken, I can change the play, I can run an alternate of this route, and you will find me thing with Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence, and I think that will continue to grow. Calvin Ridley may be their number one if you want to look at it that way, but I think Christian Kirk becomes the new Marvin Jones, if you will. When the chips are down, the first look, I think, is going to Christian Kirk because that unspoken connection, I think, is the biggest with those two guys. We will see if that becomes true. Let's take a break. Overtime with Kurtz in Middleton, ESPN 690 on a football is back sort of Monday. Jags back at OTAs. We just spent a half hour talking about it. You can go back and hear it on the podcast. We do want to tell you that No Gate Fees, the final episode, is coming up at the top of the hour, 7 o'clock. And then I believe we will have coverage of, if you just talk slow, you can pull stuff up, coverage of the Lakers and the Nets game 4. Will the Lakers get swept?
Ugly out here.
Potentially. You can hear that after No Gate Fees. So we had 3 hours of Brent Friends, an hour of Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, then a No Gate Fees, and then some NBA action to finish up the night. We finish up the show right after this.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Continuing to track areas of heavy rain for the remainder of your Monday with muggy conditions persisting overnight. Cloudy with some coastal showers tonight. Low temperatures in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. Another round of scattered on and off showers. Some very heavy rain at times as well possible on Tuesday with any slow-moving downpours and thunderstorms. It will be breezy at times on Tuesday, especially along the St. Johns River and the Atlantic coast, as we'll track temperatures for highs near 80 degrees. Kept cooler thanks to the clouds and rain, and that'll persist into Wednesday. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Trevor Gibbs.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, proud to offer a huge selection of both lab-grown and natural diamonds at the lowest prices guaranteed.
The only thing better than a day at Jack's Beaches is driving there in a new ride. And now's the time, because it's the Summer Starts Here sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. That's over 350 premium pre-owned on the lot. All makes, all models, certified pre-owned. You name it, Arlington's got it. You even get 30 days to love your purchase or exchange it for one you do. But this sale won't last long, so don't wait. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course, the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial. We're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation. It's a great time of year to invest in energy-efficient improvements to your home. With our competitive rates and new tax credits for insulation upgrades, you can get huge savings to improve your insulation today and see long-term savings every month going forward.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinsky. The physicians at Prime Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Prime Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 904-664-8214. 904-664-8214. That's 904-664-8214.
Inflation has pushed up the cost of just about everything, which means if you bought life insurance a few years ago, it might not be enough to protect your family today. Now is the time to get the insurance you need at a price you can afford. In a hurry? Don't worry. Call Select Quote now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's right. You can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam in under an hour.
Call Select Quote at 1-800-613-8990. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now and get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam. That's 1-800-613-8990. Or go to SelectQuote.com now.
Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercial.
This is a busy time of year for families, especially if you have teenagers, kids getting their license, kids going off to college, and someone probably needs a new car, and that's why you go to Nimnick Buick GMC, #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Looking for the perfect truck or SUV? Nimnick Buick GMC has more models on the ground than they've had in over 2 years. Looking for a used car under $18,000? Nimnick has a great selection of over 300 used cars, trucks, and SUVs to choose from. Visit the showroom off Phillips Highway or shop NimnickBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the award-winning and revolutionary online learning program that's changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Designed by teachers and early childhood learning experts, ABC Mouse seamlessly aligns with what your child is already learning in school. And with over 7,000 learning activities and more than 650 lessons, it's the most comprehensive early learning site on earth.
I have been teaching for 13 years, and I've never seen a program like ABC Mouse. It encompasses science, math, reading, social studies.
It's just endless what they can learn on ABC Mouse. I've always had to use 20 websites, and now I can just use one.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month. But you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio, abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Stay with ESPN 690 for your chance to see and hear our special events in the Farah and Farah Performance Studio throughout 2023. Powered by Farah and Farah and ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton, ESPN 690 on a Monday. Football is back in May, Monday. Just keep adding words to it. Make it seem like it makes sense. Brian Middleton, Kasey Kurtz, for about 10, 15 more minutes or so, and then no gate fees. And then the Lakers and the Nuggets right here on ESPN 690. On the stream, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, you can comment and watch us do the radio show that you may be listening to on the radio, but you can watch if you're not driving, of course, and chat along with us. Beaver Boys says we need better awareness, going back to your point about your college football players needing more awareness.
They were dumb, man. They were dumb.
You know, it happens.
I mean, you would draft them. You would recruit them. They'd be like a 4-star. You'd be like 4'2", 6'5". Come on down here. And I'd be like, oh, it's because you got I didn't know that you could get a 30 awareness. I thought the lowest it went was like 40, but that's cool, I guess.
So not only do you need the help in the video games, but
real life.
Real life awareness is a thing, and I believe that Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, Evan Ingram all have a good amount of it because of last year. Calvin Ridley will have to earn the awareness, if you will, that he would get in a Madden ranking, but mostly earn the trust of Trevor Lawrence and the coaching staff that he can once again perform at a high level. Doug Pederson earlier today, which is cut 8, talking about the trust they have as a team, as a coaching staff, the players, everybody trusting each other. This is what Doug had to say.
That's why we have such a high percentage of guys that are here. That goes a long way. That goes a long way, not only just this time of the year, but you get into December and January as we talk, and that's where the trust and sort of that camaraderie come into play. But we're building that foundation.
He's right. And it's almost incredible the players that they retain and the amount of players they brought back, but in the terms of the amount of players that are at the voluntary OTAs in which they are running, I mean, it's all but like 3 guys that we told you about earlier, 2 of which are circumstances that, Cam Robinson's hurt. Take a suspension out of it. He's hurt right now. So what is he going to be able to gain? He knows the offense. He's been here longer than anybody, except for like Tyler Shatley. So like, okay. And Evan Ingram, he hasn't signed his franchise tag. He's waiting to see if he can get maybe a long-term deal. Maybe they're working it out. We don't know, but those are reasons why those guys aren't here. And then Josh Allen is not here, but another guy that's been here just about the longest. A guy that, again, as we have documented, has worked his ass off the entire time he's been in Jacksonville. So there's no reason to believe that he's not doing that, even though he's not at the facility with the team. So other than that, the boys are there. They are working. The rookies, obviously. The veterans, which I think says something about a guy like Rayshon Jenkins, who you brought up earlier, and the leadership part of it. And they don't have a lot of older players, if you will. They have like a Tyler Shatley, who has been there forever, has been in the league for a very long time. But, I mean, even the positions that you usually have some deep veteran or two, like kicker, that's not the case. Logan Cook's been in the league a bit. I wouldn't call him a deep veteran. I mean, Darius Williams is a guy now that you're looking at that's been in the league a little bit. He's there. So it is quite incredible that in just a year, Doug Pederson has them bought in to this level. Granted, they won. Took to the back half of the season, but they won. But a year ago, why would anybody show up for voluntary anything after the year they dealt with Urban Meyer? You know what I'm saying? Doug's coming in. Yeah, you want to get to know your new coach. Okay, I get it. And, But just talk about night and day. Hey, I want to be here when I don't have to versus I wouldn't show up to that facility for nothing if I'm not getting paid when coming off the Urban Meyer year. So it's underrated with all the good stuff Doug has done. But the idea that people just want to be there with their teammates working, it's big. It's big for Jacksonville.
Because, and I don't think this could be overstated, the ability to have continuity plays so big in certain moments during the regular season, especially the bigger the stakes get in the playoffs. The continuity that you've built, granted in April, in May, as you're far out from the regular season, you're far out from actually the preseason. But these are the beginning moments. As Doug said, these are the times where you are building those foundations, where you have the guys who are vets, young players, and the super young guys who are coming in as rookies, or the new guys who are come to the team. And it's in those moments, during the mundane reps, that you're still going full speed, regardless if you have pads on or not. That I truly believe that those kind of foundations are built, and Doug just said that, so that's another reason why I believe that. And you see the fruits of that on the other end more times than not with really good teams. I guess when you start talking about, you can't point to one thing, but I think you can point to certain seasons, certain moments during a preseason leading up to the regular season saying, yeah, we grew there. I can't point at this particular rep that Anton Harrison was going against, whoever, Trayvon or whomever else, as the reason why he was able to make the block here, or Trayvon, he was working on a move over here, and that was the time when it finally clicked for him. Or, defensively, I knew that someone may be out of place here, but I knew what he was going to do so well. I stepped in place there because we've just been together. We've been doing these things, whether it be voluntary or involuntary, throughout the entire offseason. So, I do think that this can't be understated, that the vast majority of the guys who are there, who are the leaders, Kasey Kurtz, aren't asking new guys or guys who aren't like maybe the high profile, the Trevors, the Travis Etiennes, so on and so forth. They're not asking those guys to do anything else that they're not willing to do. And for the few guys who aren't there, we all have circumstances that you have pointed out already that are, unique to the situation, and or we know they're working.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's listen to Doug again, cut one, with everybody there, and it goes back to the trust, and it goes back to what they built last year. What does it say to him about the amount of players wanting to be there, cut one?
Shows me that they want to win, and they want to win here, and I can't let them be a one and done season, right? We have to continue to build on that, and And, we talked a lot about this last year. Consistency in winning goes a long way. And that's what I'm seeing from the guys and the effort that they're putting in, during the phase 1 and phase 2, and obviously now starting phase 3. So it's great to see everybody. I think that's the first step. And then it's something that, it just can't be lip service. We have to go out and prepare and work and put the time in order to be where we want to be.
You know what my favorite part about that is? When Doug Pederson said, I can't let them be one and done. So it's not, in the way I read into it, and obviously it's about the players, but to me that's Doug Pederson saying, I can't fail them, right? Taking the, taking whatever that is off of them, right? They have to perform, but Doug going, nah, this is on us to make them better. It's not on them. It's on us to put them in a position to succeed. They obviously then have to succeed, but Doug's saying, nah, this is where we need to get better. Like, people don't say that when you have an ego or you just accomplish the things that Doug accomplished. He took Jacksonville, who's been a loser all but like 4 years in the history of the franchise, and at the bye week was right on par with the losing. And then they ran them off in a row and won a playoff game. That is not a moment where then I'm going to be like, you know what, I need to be better. Like, most people don't say that. And Doug's like, hey, you know what, I can't let them be one and done. That's impressive. That's impressive leadership stuff. And they have an all-time leader, I believe, in Doug Pederson. So when you hear stuff like that, to me, it's take out all the other stuff. It's not surprising that everybody's there. They want to win for this guy. They want to win for their coaching staff, who has proven to be very good. We've had questions at times, but they have a good coaching staff. They have a great head coach, and they all stayed for the most part. The main coaches, the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, obviously Doug Pederson, the main part of their coaching staff stayed. And that can't be understated, because at this time next year, we're probably not talking about that, right? Press Taylor might have the opportunity to be a head coach.
Oh, yeah, they run off another.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why everything here is so valuable. This season is so extremely valuable. The schedule, it is what it is. You have a lot of winnable games. Your division is garbage. All of these things. The second year in most of this team being together under Doug Pederson, like, they have such an opportunity that they have to take advantage of. And that's why I'm critical about some of the decisions they make, like Anton Harrison, like where you're going to play this guy, and some of the other moves they've made, like Trayvon Walker. And I want to play this cut before we get out of here, Brian. It is cut number 4 from Doug Pederson, and talking specifically about Trayvon Walker's development and what he thinks we should see, or he needs to see, out of Trayvon Walker.
I think Trayvon, taking in year 2, developing, more of a pass rush, sort of that repertoire of rushes and moves and things, and then within the scheme, where does he line up, inside, outside, off the ball, wherever it might be, and how well he understands, those things we're asking of him.
Okay, but we got to make decisions, right? It goes back to the situation they're in. You just heard it, inside, outside, off the ball, pick one. Get with Mike Caldwell, make the decision. Like, you got to cross-train, you got to be able to do multiple things, I get it. But where are they best? With Trayvon Walker being in 3 spots, or being great at 1?
Yeah,
And if it's going to be outside linebacker, then fantastic. If they're going to play him as like a big end, okay. He can stop the run, I'm with it. But put him somewhere and let him develop. That's the only criticism I have of them right now, in multiple circumstances of that. And they just got to figure that out. But I like Doug acknowledging the situation, that he has to get better as a pass rusher. He's very raw in that aspect. Still an incredible athlete. That hasn't changed. So if they can just find a sweet spot for Trayvon Walker, big things may be on the horizon. But again, as I've said, and I will continue to say, until September, you can't take hope to the bank.
Here you go.
And you got to Make your own luck.
Here you go.
It's just as simple as that. I guess we're about out of time. ESPN 690 Overtime with Kurtz and Middleton. Brian Middleton, Kasey Kurtz. No gate fees up next. The Lakers after that. Do the Lakers get swept tonight?
Lakers wrap up their season tonight as well as gate fees. See, 2 series finales.
They're just not good enough, huh?
It's looking like that. It's looking like they can play well, and Denver just can play just a bit better regardless of how the game goes. But I think they win tonight.
Really?
I do think they win tonight, yeah.
Darvin Ham deserves a lot of credit. This was a bad basketball team with not enough good players, and they got it together. The Nuggets are just better. Whether it's tonight or Wednesday, it is what it is. No gate fees is next. For Brian Middleton, I'm Kasey Kurtz. Have a great night, everybody. I want to eat a spicy chicken in my Tesla. Is it too much to ask?
West Side.
All offers with approved credit and not in conjunction. See dealer for complete details.